I drove my rusty pickup to the local game store door. Starfield gleamed upon the shelf, couldn't wait no more. Todd Howard spun his stories of galaxies afar, but when I fired up that game, I didn't get too far. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. They boasted endless planets, each one unique and new. But after planet number 3, I'd seen a deja vu. The critics didn't love it, gave it mediocre scores. Just another space misfire echoed across the boards. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. I searched for epic battles, but the AI wouldn't fight. Characters were wooden and the dialogue was trite. Todd promised me the cosmos, but left me in the dust. Now I'm trading in this game, it's betrayed my trust. Oh, Todd, you weaved a fable of worlds beyond compare, but all I got were glitches and load screens everywhere. Still somehow I'm considering when the next game's not, 'cause hope's a stubborn thing, and I'll give it one more try. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I'll always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true.
Imagine a hero shooter where the hero never showed. Imagine a game with a player base that just refused to grow.
That's most definitely what's up.
A 5v5 hero shooter with gameplay that's just okay, and characters that remind me of Tupperware and white bread.
16 times the detail.
No, I'm not talking about Overwatch. Please stop bringing up Overwatch. This game is not Overwatch. It's actually something else. Imagine a game with a story that no one watches. A game that costs $40 that Sony totally botches. It has all my favorite characters, like Lemmy, Dawn, and Craig. At least, I think that's what their names are. I never bothered to check. Concord like the grave, your legacy is safe.
I'm
As a
vibing!
game that no one played, and a price that no one paid. Boop-a-doop-ba, deep-a-doop-da, scoop-a-boop-ba, beep-beep-beep-beep-beep, phlegm. Concord was about as good as accidentally peeing on your own leg. Concord, we're here to lay you to rest. We know you tried your best. You copied so much cool stuff just to turn out lame in the end. I'll never forget my favorite moments, like when Hot Sauce Guy jumped. Remember when he jumped? That was really cool. A rat just ran by on my desk, and even the rat didn't want to play Concord, even though I blessed him with the chance. The $40 he could afford, but the rat just stared on in a trance. Rat, 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 rat. Concord's dead. Rat, 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 rat. Concord's dead. The Costco guys made more money than you. They were just on Jimmy Fallon too. Imagine Lennox being on Jimmy Fallon, because I literally can't. The rat on my desk is eating all my Cheerios and grapes. And also Concord is dead. Concord like the grave. Your legacy is safe as a game that no one played, and a price that no one paid. Rat-a-ta-ta beep-a-da boop. Skim, milk, the rat fleet, doo-da, doo-da. A guy said he really liked it, and then a bunch of rats ate his face. That's the sound he made when Concord passed away. I wish things turned out different, but either way I'm getting paid. Concord's dead, Concord's dead, and boy is my face red. When the game came out, everybody overslept. Concord's dead, Concord's dead. Holy crap, Lois, Concord's dead. When the game out, people played everything else instead.
Welcome, everyone. I've missed you. It's been too long. Boy, do I know how to pick the days to go on vacation, huh? Boy, do I know. But we actually got a really solid game awards. Some big announcements. One that leaked ahead of time. Of course, we got Mafia that leaked ahead of time, which was too bad because Mafia is Mafia. I mean, it's great. But there was that. But some big surprises I don't think anybody was really braced for. Some reboots of old franchises. Funnily enough, at the Game Awards, nobody is talking about the actual awards. It's been like a total afterthought. Everything's about the announcements, which I think says a lot about the announcements, you know? And I think that's a good thing. What for you guys was the biggest, like, holy crap moment? What got you? I want to know. For me, seeing the actual, like, Witcher 4 trailer pop up, like, that was pretty cool. Naughty Dog, Onimusha, yeah. Seeing Harrison Ford. I love that everybody was like, I can't tell if Harrison Ford is just old or drunk or both. Because he was like very much slurring his speech, and it was kind of tough to tell. And honestly, at this point, I still don't know if he's just old or drunk. But I'm looking forward to that. Imagine being at an age where you could be plastered 24/7 and you can get away with it because people are like, well, I mean, he's old. It'd be great. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, he was flying high. That's my guess is, you know, he had that earring in. I think he was on another planet. I think so. Helldivers updates, new Naughty Dog game. I cracked a joke about the Naughty Dog game, and some people got like actually really mad. I thought it was kind of funny. I just said, just landed from a 4-hour flight. Were there any good Game Award announcements? My screen cap is frozen. Why is it frozen? That's weird. It's just frozen. Hold on, please hold. Let me refresh. Boop. Hey, now it's working. That was weird. But I just said, didn't think Naughty Dog's new game would be Concord 2. Witcher 4 and Mafia look fire though. People got like actually kind of mad about that. I thought it was funny because it's like, it's sci-fi or retro sci-fi, I think is technically the term. I thought it was funny, but some people got mad. So we were like, how dare you? Interestingly enough, apparently like that trailer has been getting like mass downvoted and they turned off comments and stuff. I don't know. We're going to look at the trailer. I'll share my thoughts on the trailer and talk about it. Because for all the jokes, like I think there are some interesting tidbits in it, but yeah, it's been getting gone after. There's still some people trying to act like Witcher 4, like The Witcher's gone woke because it has it's Ciri as the protagonist, which is just, I mean, tell me you don't know anything about The Witcher without telling me you don't know anything about The Witcher. Like, the Witcher's not about Ciri, it's about Geralt. Okay, well, now I can shove you aside. Like, okay. It's just dumb. I will say I was nervous when I was going through the list and I saw Naughty Dog's announcement, and then I saw it was like The Last of Us Part 2 remastered on PC. I was like, really? Like, that's what they came here for? That's what all this has been building to? Turns out this was just a little extra tidbit, but I don't know. For me, I think the trailer that most stole the show was probably The Witcher 4. That seems to be the one that's like really dominated the conversation. I do think Naughty Dog's game has generated some, Mafia's generated some, Elden Ring's Night Rain. We'll talk about that because that also was a big surprise. Somehow that didn't leak, which was really cool that didn't leak because it very easily could have. But yeah, lots of good stuff. Like Todd was cooking. I'll give him that. Todd was cooking. New Crimson Desert trailer. Yeah. I thought Sven's speech was popping off. I will say that, I mean, you got to give credit where it's due. I think Jeff got a lot of feedback, both from the audience and from the the actual game devs and stuff after last year. I think a lot of them were like, guys, what are we doing? Like, it's the Game Awards and you're rushing off the winner of Game of the Year who's thanking and giving credit to like deceased developers who didn't make it and honoring them during your speech. And it's like, wrap it up, keep it moving, because we got to have time for a celebrity to come up and talk about some stupid crap. I think they got feedback from that and they took some time, they reevaluated. And so this year they really did make a different approach. And to their credit, I think they were willing to poke fun at themselves a little bit. Even in Sven's speech, he had a couple little lines which were little digs, he's like, if you ever up here giving a speech and you need to wrap it up or you get the sign to wrap it up, just remember, if you win Game of the Year, you can give a 3-minute speech and it's fine. So I think it was a really solid show. There's still the remnants of age-old Game Awards problems where it's like Jeff is so obsessed with getting validation from Hollywood that he tries really hard to bring in actors and to bring in Hollywood people. And I'm like, just don't. Like, the one exception, Harrison Ford being there as Indiana Jones after the launch of Indiana Jones, I can appreciate that. That makes sense to me. That's cool. If somebody is in a game and they're promoting them, that's cool. But like random musical segments, I don't know, man. I don't know. Harrison Ford was such a lovely surprise. Based on his vibe, I think he was surprised he was there too. I think he thought he was on Mars. Yeah, you could see Troy Baker got emotional when Harrison Ford said he did a good job. I mean, anybody would. It was really sweet. Blake, thank you for the 5. I feel so vindicated that you and Joy told me that making Onimusha makes no sense and they're not going to do it just to see them bring it back hyped. Yes, I very much said that. Yeah. I will say, so I guess to clarify this, I was supposed to be back on Wednesday. I obviously was not. I was not back for when we originally scheduled to be back. because we were doing something cool in New York City. That I can't talk about just yet, though I imagine you'll find out soon enough what it was. But I was doing something cool in NYC that popped up that I pretty much had to fly directly from Florida to NYC for. So I just didn't have time to get back. And Joe Raptor, because he's also back from vacation, we were like, oh, we can do the podcast. But for him, it would have been at like 3 a.m. So it just didn't really line up. But it was a good time. It was a good time. And we'll share more about that in the future, don't worry. But you were a guest on Jimmy Fallon. Nah, I'm not as cool as the Costco guys. Like I'm just not that cool. I'm not that cool, man. So the director in an interview said for Dragon Age Veilguard said in future games player decisions could factor in. Am I wrong for not believing that? Yeah, well, I think the quote got taken a little bit out of context from that interview, because basically what they were saying was, yeah, decisions made in the past trilogy could come into play in the future. So don't think that those decisions didn't matter just because it didn't matter in this game as much or at all. I can understand that. I still don't, like, after playing Veilguard, I'm not super confident that they're going to magically figure out how to make an RPG again, but maybe they'll surprise me. Luke is the Rizzler confirmed. I wish. I wish, man. Yeah. How excited am I for The Witcher 4? Very, very. We're going to look at all of it. So basically how I think we're going to structure this, I was like, we could just go back through the entire award show, but that's going to take 5 hours and it's not going to be that efficient. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of break it apart piece by piece. We're going to look at the biggest trailers, biggest reveals. And then I was honestly expecting there to be more to react to when it came to the award side of the show. There really wasn't. Like, Astrobot got Game of the Year. Okay. Like, nobody's really that shocked. You know, it was a really safe bet, safe pick. I still think at this point in the year, I'm not done with Indiana Jones yet. I will say I'm liking Indiana Jones a lot more than I was just a few hours in. Weirdly enough, it is a game that has, like, pretty obvious problems and shortcomings, but so much of the game is so good that it kind of outweighs that. And granted, full disclosure, there is like a very extended period of the game set in the ruins of ancient Egypt in the Giza Plateau. That for me is like crack, okay? I've said this 1,000 times, but if there's ever a game that has anything ancient Egypt, even adjacent, for me, that gets me all giggly and excited. Literally last night, I had a 4+ hour flight and I watched documentaries on the pyramids for the entire time. I'm a wee bit obsessed. I find it fascinating. So whenever I get a chance to play a game that has that type of thing, it's going to be extra special for me. So I want to be clear about that. But having said that, I will say that I think Indiana Jones is a game that is better than just those tidbits. You know, I think it's one of those games, if you really want to tear it apart and pick it apart, there's lots of material. I mean, you can just look at like encounter design, the frankly at times brain dead AI, things like that, and you can tear it apart. But honestly, I think you can have a lot of fun with it too.
Yo, hope you're doing well. I'm excited to try Indiana Jones sometime this weekend as a big fan of the movies. Very intrigued about Intergalactic.
Yeah. I guess we could start there. We could start with the biggest one so Jacob can clip it and get it going, because there is a lot there. So, interestingly enough, let's see. Interestingly enough, I guess, yeah, I've got the trailer here. I'm making sure I'm not using the IGN versions because those are all going to look terrible. So I'm using like the really high fidelity versions straight from the source. So we'll do that. Let me catch up on these real quick and then we'll get into it. Chancer Games, thank you for resubbing. How about that Harrison Ford appearance? I jumped off my couch. Yeah, it was really cool. And that's one again, I think made sense and was really sweet. That was really cool to see. Kino Man Sky, thank you for that. OM Todd, is Jeff not too good with one more thing? I it's so funny to me though, like Jeff, for whatever reason, if you didn't notice it, now you're never going to be able to unhear it. Anytime there's any reveal ever, he is like, yep, that is the first look at Hazelight's new game, Split Fiction, and I got to play 2 hours of it and it's really good. And then they do the next reveal. That is first look at blah, blah, blah. I played 3 hours of it back earlier this year and it's really good. Then next reveal. And I played an hour and a half of that back in June when I traveled to Japan. It's like, bro, nobody cares. Like I'm very thankful you're announcing, you're doing all this stuff, but we don't need to know when you traveled there, what you were wearing, what you played it on. Like, we're good. We're good. Okay. We know that you saw this before us because you run the show. Okay. You don't need to remind us constantly. It's just funny. And he does it every single time. And he's done it for years. It's really funny. Let's see, where was I? Edwin, thank you for the 10. Game Awards got me excited for 2025. Elden Ring, Witcher 4, and Mafia. Excited also for Virtua Fighter and the other RGG game. Dispatch and Split Fiction. Looks like OG Telltale. Also Borderlands 4. Yeah, dude, there's a lot. We thought next year was going to be busy, and that was just with the stuff that was announced already, and now we've seen even more, and it's even crazier. It's a little insane. It's a little insane. Jeffrey, thank you for the 2. Show was so long, it was a C at best. Not shocking. I would not give it a C. I think that was an A, as far as I'm concerned. Big announcements. Granted, a lot of these are very far off still, but I mean, I'm still thoroughly impressed with what they got. Kappa, let's see, we read that one. Thank you again. 18 months, that's crazy. Blake, thank you for the 2. It was really cool to see Jeff get stoked finally. I think he was making calls all year and was like, guys, this is the 10th anniversary. Please. Pretty please. Please. And I think a lot of people are like, okay, Jeff, okay.
K0X Crew is now a member.
Thank you.
Here's my monthly shout out and thank you. Love your show, man.
Thank you, Corkscrew. Much love to you too. 3 months of membership is amazing. That's tremendous. Thank you, my friend. Crimson Desert showed you can ride a frickin' dragon. Game looks better and better with every show. Yeah, dude, for real. It really does. Okay, should we talk about this finally? Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. Let's do it. Everyone take a swig of your coffee. We're going to do it. Okay. New segment. Rat. What is, Kappa Claus for the resub with Prime over on Twitch. Thank you, Kappa Claus. Thank you. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So last night at the Game Awards, big announcement, final one more thing announcement, blew everybody's mind, sort of. An announcement of a new Naughty Dog IP. Now we knew they were working on a new IP. We knew this. There were rumors it was going to be sci-fi related. Neil and a bunch of people at the team had alluded to this. Some of the job postings had signaled that maybe they were going in a different direction than like the really grounded realism of The Last of Us. We know that Uncharted is something they're done with, so they're looking for something new. And this new IP aims to be it. This, I made a joke after I saw this on X, and I was just like, oh wow, I didn't expect Naughty Dog's new IP to be Concord 2, but I'm here for it. People got like actually really mad. It's retro futurism. I thought it was funny because like it's the same general vibe of sort of 80s era space tech, whatever. For some reason, all of these games, I really do honestly, I think a lot of it was greenlit in the shadow of Guardians of the Galaxy. And those films popping off. I think a lot of people saw those, got inspired by it, and were like, ooh, we could do something like that. And so we've gotten all these sort of retro futuristic, quippy, quirky games. And most of them have been kind of bleh. Maybe this is the first one that really, really nails it. But we have the trailer. We're going to look at it. I do have thoughts. I'm not actually saying it's going to be Concord 2, but again, it's freaking funny. How triggered and freaked out some people got when I called it Concord 2. I thought it was funny, but anyway, let's see the trailer. Let's do it. Let's do it. The suffering of generations must be endured to achieve our divine end. Ancient Cimmerian scripture. In-game. So to be clear, I mean, they say in-game cinematics. They're saying this is actually what it looks like. We'll talk about the Witcher trailer later because they said something very interesting about that trailer in the little subtitle as well. But they are saying this is actually running. So everything we're going to see is what the game actually looks like. This is not a cinematic trailer. This isn't made by a different company. This isn't in-engine. This is what it will look like when you play it. Let's see. First thing people notice, Porsche. I never know how to say it. All I remember is Roger from American Dad, who's like, I just like to say Porsche because then it takes longer to say it. So people have to listen to you say it longer. Porsche. Every time I see it, I'm like Porsche. Yeah, I can afford a Porsche. So you have to listen to me say it for longer. Every time I see it. Little weird product placement. That one, you know, I'm down for the Sony product placement. Like the Walkmans, you know, occasionally you get the Sony Zune, whatever it was. I know it wasn't actually Zune. I forget what the Sony one was called, but like I can get behind that stuff. This one feels out of pocket. I don't think Sony owns Porsche, right? Sorry, Porsche. You pronounce the E? Oh, well, see, there I go. I don't know. But we'll continue. Coded messages, video disc 2, 32 minutes, 17 seconds. 3 + 2 + 1 = 6 for GTA 6. 7 means 7 days from now. S means sexy. So it's going in 7 days. We'll get a trailer for GTA 6 that will be sexy. Confirmed. I swear to God, for a second, I thought it was the exact same tattoo that Ellie had. I was like, what are we doing, guys? What's his name? It's like a pretty famous actor. The Indian actor. What's his name? I can never. Kumail Nanjiani? Kumail? Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. Yeah, like there's a bunch of little bitty things in this shot. We know that Troy Baker is. I thought they said starring, but I guess not. So maybe co-starring or something. I'm not sure, but we know that he said stuff like that. Disorganized, acting alone, find his drive wiped, wanted posters. You see these. I'm guessing that this is going to be Neil Druckmann, Troy Baker's character. Find fence for jewelry, dead. Reporter's data drive at Crescent Systems storage. I don't like, it's all pretty standard sci-fi.
Jordan,
Tell me something good.
well, you're right, it checks out. He's hiding out around the Superior Moon.
Excellent.
How is that excellent? He's next to fucking Superior. No one has left that planet in over 600 years. Anyone who even flies close to it is never heard from again.
Superstitions.
No. Superstitions are the crazy rumors about what happened on that planet. These are facts.
You worry too much.
You know what I worry just the right amount. I say we wait for him to leave, or how about we find a new lead? He's not worth it. I'm wasting my time, aren't I?
Can you please claim him? I don't need another hunter swooping in.
Who is swooping? No one is crazy enough to go there.
He clearly is.
He is clearly desperate.
And so am I, so claim him, or I will find another agent.
Anyone else with all your fucking shit? Okay, alright, you know what? There, you're the boss.
Colin.
Thank you.
Listen, kid. I'll see you on the other side.
Adidas. Porsche. Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, and The Last of Us. Naughty Dog. So hopefully you can at least see like why I made the joke that it's Concord 2, because like similar vibe, a little different. Obviously it's not a 5v5 hero shooter. At least it better not be. Hopefully that's not the next trailer. But let's get the obvious stuff out of the way first. I mean, first things first with all Naughty Dog games. Facial animations, animation quality, production value is all ridiculously well done, even down to like micro movements within lips and eyes, even ear movements. It's ridiculous, the level of detail. Okay, that is something you can't really deny. It's industry leading. It's ridiculously impressive. The other thing, like, of course, sound design seems really, really solid. Art design, if you really like retro futurism, this probably is right up your alley. I find it fascinating that so many of these games are striking similar visual styles around the same time period. I think it's usually because it's like parallel thinking, I think is the term, but it's like, you know, you get inspired by similar stuff, even though you're in different studios at the same time. It's like, I remember watching the documentary Raising Kratos, and Cory Barlog was saying how he and the team kept seeing trailers for Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which was coming from Ninja Theory. It's like this Nordic thing, and they're doing a no-cut camera, and they're doing all this crazy cinematic stuff. And they're like, are they reading our minds? Do they have a spy on the inside? Like, we're doing similar stuff. And they were freaking out about it. And it just ended up being parallel thinking. And with this, I mean, I think it's probably a similar thing where they got inspired around the same times with the same art styles as these other games that have come out since and that are coming down the pike as well. Personally, for me, this is where we're shifting out of the gear of objectivism. Things where, like, we can say the game graphically looks very impressive. Animation-wise, very impressive. Acting-wise, I'm sure it's going to be stellar, as Naughty Dog games often are. But getting that out of the way. Personal opinion alert. Personal opinion, just Luke. I don't know, man. I never thought I would see the day where Naughty Dog would reveal something and I just would be like totally uninterested. I want them to win me over, but the retrofuturism has just never really appealed to me. I think it goes back to my childhood because my name is Luke, and so people would always do the Luke, I'm your father thing. And growing up during the prequel era of Star Wars, everybody was constantly bringing it up to me. And so I just like burned out on Star Wars when I was little, and it's always been something I've until I got older. I mean, nowadays I like Star Wars, it's fine. But especially like deep within me, the Star Wars vibe, the retrofuturistic vibe, the NASA punk vibe, all of that, I'm just like, it just doesn't do anything for me. Like for some people, they see this and it's like me with Ancient Egypt. It gets them giddy and excited. They love it. For me, it's the opposite. For me, it just doesn't do anything. I'm just like, okay. That being said, it's also like it's a trailer of cinematics, not a cinematic trailer, but a trailer of cinematics, trying to establish tone and the vibe of the game. And the only look at what will potentially be what the game actually is like when you play it is this last little tidbit here. And we don't get much from it. We see this, so it seems that it's all going to be melee, or a lot of it's going to be melee focused at least. And you know, that's very different from what Naughty Dog has historically done. So that could be really interesting. But this last little bit is what I think could win somebody like me over to the game. And we just get a little snippet. So I don't think this trailer is meant to convince people like me that this is going to be our new obsession. I think this trailer is specifically meant to set the tone, set the vibe, and be like, look, we're doing something cool. That being said, they did talk about the game a little bit more. So with this, they offered a game description. And the game description reads, The Heretic Prophet is the newest franchise in development for the PlayStation 5 console from Naughty Dog, the studio behind the acclaimed Last of Us and Uncharted series. Set thousands of years in the future, Intergalactic puts players into the role of Jordan A. Munn, a dangerous bounty hunter who ends up stranded on Semperia, a distant planet whose communication with the outside universe went dark hundreds of years ago. Jordan will have to use all her skills and wits if she hopes to be the first person in over 600 years to leave its orbit. So presumably we're going to the planet. You're going to be stuck on that one planet. So if you're hoping that you can fly your Porsche around freely, like that's not what this game is. It seems like this is very much going to be based on this planet. It's going to be a Naughty Dog game. It's going to be cinematic. It's going to be narrative focused. I think the way they've doubled down on it is specifically Neil Druckmann said it is a character based narrative game, but it has more gameplay complexity than anything they've ever done, gameplay depth specifically. So if you're expecting this to just be The Last of Us in space, you will probably be disappointed. It seems like they are really trying to do something different. And this marks another shift for Naughty Dog, which is something that they've wanted to do basically once every decade. They did Uncharted for a long time, and then they shifted out of the cartoony Amy Hennig era of Uncharted into the Neil Druckmann era of The Last of Us through the 2010s, basically. And now they're shifting into this new era, and with it, they've also completely restructured the entire company. This is something that was discussed a lot in the Grounded 2 documentary. I don't know if you guys saw the reaction we did to that, or if you just watched it yourself. It's a fascinating documentary, and I do recommend you check it out because it goes through the creation of The Last of Us Part 2 and everything that happened during COVID and all that. But one of the interesting things was, of course, them discussing how they managed to make the game in the middle of 2018, 19, 2020. And they just realized the crunch levels we're experiencing it's too much. We just can't do this. And so they pivoted, and they spent a while restructuring everything, reworking a lot, changing their systems and processes so that they would not have that same struggle again. They didn't want to ever have crunch permeate through the studio, because if you are not aware, somehow Naughty Dog was for years known as like the studio you want to work for if you want to have a game of the year on your resume. If you can get there, you'll have a game of the year on your resume because they just make amazingly successful games. But you're probably not going to see your family much. Like, you're going to be working at the studio for 16, 18 hours a day. A lot of people sleep at the studio. There were stories of people that had air mattresses under their desk, and then they'd pull them out, inflate them, and sleep, and then wake up immediately and go back to work in the morning. That was normal. And it was one of those things where it was like, you don't have to stay and sleep at the studio. I mean, you could go home, but then we're all going to know that you went home. And all of us who stayed and worked late, might make you look like you don't really care that much compared to Tim, who did. It's that peer pressure. I use a story example of when I worked in real estate. My boss, like the owner of the company, super sweet guy, but cutthroat, very hardcore. He had a policy where he was like, it was discussed to us. It was like, you want to be at your desk in your chair at the end of the day when he does his walk through the office. If you want a chance at getting promoted, at getting a bigger cut, at eventually being partner, you have to be in your chair and show him that you are a go-getter and you are hardcore. But he wouldn't do his walkthrough until like 7:30, 8:30 at night, because he would show up to work at 11 a.m. when we all got there at 8. But he would do his walkthrough at the end of his day at night. And so for us, like, we'd been there since 8 a.m. But if you wanted to stay on the boss's good side, you had to be in your chair. You could go home. The doors weren't locked. You could go home. But if your boss sees that your two coworkers are in their chair and you're not, guess who's not going to be at the top of any list of promotion, of special deals? If he's got a good deal that he could give you, do you think he's giving it to you when you're not in your chair when he does his walkthrough? No, it's going to the other two guys. Yeah, it's not going to you. So it's this peer pressure, toxic workplace where they don't, on paper, require you to be in your chair, but everybody knows that that's the policy. If you want to do well in this job, you have to overwork yourself. And that's what Naughty Dog did for years and years and years. And to their credit, coming out of COVID, they changed that. They pivoted away. They said, we're not going to do this again. They stopped hosting studio dinners. They used to serve dinner for everybody to kind of, like, I guess, covertly encourage them to stay and work late. Didn't really, I guess, help anybody. It just pushed them to stay late because, you don't have to go out and get dinner. You can just stay here and work, eat at your desk. They stopped doing that. They put into place like portals for people to anonymously report problems, report issues with management, report overworking, be very, very open and clear about it. So they've completely restructured and gotten rid, allegedly, of all of that crunch. How that affects the future releases, I would guess it probably just means they take longer. I think that's what it means. It probably means when we hear about a release date that release date is prone to delays because they're not going to crunch to hit that deadline. They're going to just have to deal with it. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. But this is a big shift for them, not just in terms of the studio, but also in terms of vibe and tone and style. And for some people, this is exactly what they're looking for. This is a match made in heaven. Love it. Even though we don't really know much about it at this point, we don't know what it looks like in terms of gameplay. We don't know about that. For some people, this is checking off all their boxes. For me, tone-wise, And in terms of like the setting and premise of the game, personally for me, it just doesn't do anything. I much more prefer hyperrealism. I like medieval settings. I like Egypt. I like pirates. Yeah, I like that type of thing. Fantasy. Retrofuturism just for me doesn't do anything special for me. But there is a potential for this to eventually do that for me. I just need to see more, as I think a lot of people are at. Now, because it's 2024, there's of course a mass downvote campaign hitting the game because the actress or actor has a shaved head and it's Neil Druckmann. So there's going to be accusations of it being woke or whatever. I don't particularly care about any of that. I'm just saying, for me, it's It's just, It could change my mind if we get like a gameplay trailer next year or something that really showcases something cool. Then I'm in. But based on what we see here, like the Concorde Porsche blasting off, I just, for me, it doesn't do anything. This last shot gets me much more intrigued, but we have very little to go on based on this final little shot. So that's where I'm at. But they have okay, the top comment's funny. The trailer is 2 hours ago. Ew, it's so old we need a remaster. Oh man. Oh no, I feel like Will Smith will slap me for making fun of her. This is not what I imagine Naughty Dog's next IP to look like at all. Like here's where I'm at in terms of this direction. I think they wanted to do something new, and I don't blame them. Imagine what it's like going into the studio making The Last of Us day in, day out with like intense gore. It's really dark. There's no levity to it. It's just soul-sucking misery in a game. I'm sure eventually they were like, can we do something else, please? Can we please do something else? Just shake it up a little bit. God damn. And they gave them the chance to do that. And here's the thing. When they announced The Last of Us, there were people who said, what are you doing? You guys make Uncharted. Sit down, make more Uncharted. And they said no. They said no. We're going to do this. And it ended up blowing up into one of the biggest game franchises of all time. Whether you like it or not, it is on that level. And this could be a similar thing where it's like, hey, maybe we don't see it now, but maybe in 10 years we look back at this and we're like, oh, that's where the franchise started. I don't know. As of right now, I'm like, show me more. Being from Naughty Dog, I'm much more intrigued. But if this trailer came from any other studio, I'd be like, okay, well, that's And I think that's the big thing. The Naughty Dog reputation is carrying a lot of this discourse because I think for most people, if this trailer came from any other studio, it would be across the board. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. The 984 Tempest NDX Porsche. But I was really, if you had told me yesterday morning we were getting a Naughty Dog trailer, I was like, oh, that's going to steal the show.
Whitest_rabbit is now a member.
For me, it's
Luke, you excited to see Sony's 2024 hit, Kraven the Hunter? Some are saying it's a cinematic masterpiece pushing the envelope of creativity. Opinion?
I have not watched the film, obviously, but I've heard it's horrid. So I don't know. I Sony just doesn't, they have no consistency when it comes to their films. Like they either pop off with like the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. They pop off with those, which are fantastic, or they just blow it with like Morbius and Craven. It's like, what are we doing? I think early previews or early stuff is out. I think last night was the first night you could go see it, I think. Yeah. Madam Web, yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. I saw somebody say, I think they said across Madam Web and Craven combined, they don't pass a 40 Metacritic. Or Rotten Tomato score, I think is what it was. That's crazy. Like combined. Like combined, they still fail, which is kind of fantastic. Let's chat. I'm with Jay. Thank you for the 10. Very generous. It's just to me. The setting could be really cool though. Just have to wait. Split Fiction stole the show. Yeah, that's another very good one. Craven's at 15%. I don't even know why it's being reviewed so poorly, but it just sounds like it's just boring and uninteresting. Edgar, Luke's first L take. I like it. How dare you? I've had many more than just one. How dare you? Yeah. How dare you? Let's see. Buck's Basement, thank you for the 5. I hope Naughty Dog realizes they can't sell a game based on logo anymore. They're in for a rude awakening if they think after The Last of Us Part 2 audiences forgot. I mean, The Last of Us Part 2, I know there's a lot of like negative discourse around it. It still sold fantastically well. It has, I don't know if it still holds the record. I think Baldur's Gate took it actually, but for a while it held the record for the most Game of the Year awards of any game in history. Like there is a bubble of gamers that think it's the worst thing ever, but then there's another bubble that thinks it's a masterpiece and it's fantastic and a masterpiece. So where does the general consumer land? I don't know. But I think that there's a lot of people in their own bubbles, and most games are sold based off of the people in the middle, not in the extremes. Let's see. Thank you for the 5. Thank you guys for being patient while I catch up on these. Thank you for the 5. I'm not sure if you got into it yet, but how do you feel about Astrobot taking out all those other amazing nominations? I'm not that surprised. I mean, Astrobot's just a really safe pick that I think everybody could just kind of agree on. Like, yeah, it's very good. Whereas some people are going to love Metaphor, for example, and just other people are not going to like it at all. Because like, I just don't like those kinds of games. Whereas Astrobot has much broader appeal. And based on my understanding of how they select the winners of these categories, when everybody votes in the jury, everybody votes on them. The games with the like high quality, but also mass appeal, they tend to win. It's very rare to have like a total upset niche game win a category. It's most commonly the ones that more people played that spanned broader. Let's see. Read that one. Nissan 86, thank you for the 5. Do you think product placement will be the new norm to help offset production costs a la Intergalactic? As a gamer, it's cringe and off-putting. No, I mean, they put like the Sony logo on screen. Like that was not maybe Porsche paid them a little bit, but like, I don't think any of that is changing the budget. I think what that is it's a what's the term? It's like a nod to how movies back in the 80s did everything. Because if you watch some of those movies from the 80s, everybody, like Jurassic Park, I think that was early 90s technically, but like even that, where they have the the shaving cream that the things are transported in, and the logo very gently pans to the screen, and Blade Runner and all that stuff. Like back in the day, they did that with a ton of movies. Yeah, Adidas, I think they did that too. 80s movies did it all over the place. All the characters are drinking their Pepsi sodas very carefully. It was very normal. And that's, to me, what they were doing. I don't think that they're like, the game's not going to make money unless we put a bunch of product placement in. I don't think that that's it. I think it's just an allusion to those old school films. Naughty Dog's basically gotten a blank check to make this thing, so I don't think that they're having to do product placement to pay for things. Samuel, thank you for the 5. Was slightly a whittle butthurt. You called it Concord 2, lol. But I think it looks really promising. Also, by the way, a ton of elephants in your room. A ton of elephants in my room. I'm like looking around. Do I have something I shouldn't have on screen? Is the elephant in the room? I don't know. Oh, is it just because I keep saying that? Every stream I have like one phrase I just use over and over and over again. I guess today it's that. Let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah. But yeah, I thought calling it Concord 2 was funny because to me visually it strikes a similar vibe, but I understand some people got butthurt. I thought it was funny. But I understand some people got a little upset by it. I mean, it does look a little bit like okay. I'm moving on. Nissan, thank you for the 5. Even worse, spend money on licensing these products and adding to the money issues. No, I think it's just they're little nods to the 80s era of product placement in movies. I don't think it's anything more than that. It's like part of the art style. I think that's really what it is. Whitest Strap, thank you for the 2. Anyone feel the awkwardness when Helldivers 2 beat Fortnite? I'm glad it did, man. Like, Fortnite's big enough. They don't need awards. Mark, thank you for that 5. I'm late. Have you talked about The Witcher 4 yet? No, I have not, but I've got it pulled up, baby. I'm so excited. So good. 53 Nights, thank you for the 5. Jor got the biggest win last night with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero winning nothing. That's also, didn't Shadow of the Erdtree, I don't think they won anything. Like, they changed category titles and standards to let that game in, and they won nothing. Like, it was kind of weird. I was braced for them to give it like Game of the Year or something, but when it won nothing, I was like, oh, okay, like what? I think it's because a lot of journalists agreed with us that like it just doesn't make sense to give Game of the Year to that. Like, what are we doing? But still. Christian Gaming, thank you for the 5. Mafia the Old Country looks cool. RDR2 vibe. Dude, and there's a little bit of extra stuff with that too, because it is not open world. They're not trying to do the open world thing. It's apparently a linear, like, narrative game. Personally, I think that's fantastic. I'm here for it because the open world was always the weakest point of those games. But yeah, apparently they're not doing the open world thing. They are actually walking back on that, which I think is awesome. I think it's an idea, or it's based on the idea that if you can't do something super well, just don't do it, because it's just going to give people reasons to poke holes in your game. Rework those resources into production value elsewhere, and it'll pay off way more there. And I think that's a great way to do it. Like, instead of trying to build a massive open world, spend that time and money building bigger, more complicated levels. Spend that time pushing the graphical boundary. Spend that time and effort elsewhere. That's the way you should do it. I'm hyped for Mafia mostly. Yeah, dude, it's your boy Hans. It's very good. Jeremy, thank you for the 2. Thoughts on the divide of people on how Siri looks? Maybe this is dismissive of me. I think most of the people that say Siri looks bad are trolling. I don't see how you could look at that model of Siri and be like, cringe, woke, whatever crap. Like, I think a lot of them are trolling and people keep biting. Elijah, thank you for the 5. I'm envisioning Druckmann mixing Concord's design with Forspoken's characterization like he's Professor Utonium. I don't know who Professor Utonium is. What is that? Oh, the dad in the Powerpuff Girls. Dude, that's a deep cut. That's a deep cut. Wow. Haven't thought of that in a long time. Wow. That's funny. That's funny. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I'm open to it. I just was so sure that whatever Naughty Dog would show, I would immediately be like, yep, I'm here for it. I'm in. But instead I'm like, eh. And that to me is surprising. I did not expect to be in that spot. I was sure that they were going to blow me away, but instead I'm just kind of, okay. I've got The Witcher pulled up as well. Okay, almost caught up, guys. Almost caught up. Then we'll do The Witcher. Great work, son. Thank you. Thank you for the 5. Is it just space sci-fi that you don't like, or is it the decade, the developers tried to theme around? It's specifically retro futurism, and specifically, like, I also, just more broadly, I'm just not that into sci-fi usually. Like, a lot of players are like fantasy players or they're sci-fi players. Like, they like the Dragon Age games or they like the Mass Effect games more. You know, they might still like one, they might still like both, but one is usually their favorite. They like the fantasy more or they like the sci-fi more. For me, I'm much more sci-fi, or much more fantasy. I'm much less sci-fi. There are sci-fi games I like that I connect with that I think are really cool. But for me, it's just, it doesn't automatically get me super excited, you know, whereas like other settings or other things like The Witcher 4, I see that vibe. I'm in it. I'm here. But for other people, they saw it and they're like, I'm good. I want more sci-fi. Like, you know, it's just based on tastes. Nobody's right or wrong. It's just what you personally prefer. So we'll see. We'll see. Where else was I? Unknown Spider, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, your opinion, and Skyrim. Were you replying to somebody with that as their use? I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean just my opinion on Skyrim? Skyrim good. Skyrim good. I'm sorry, Unknown Spider. I'm not really sure what you're asking. Chunky Monkey, thank you for the 5. Did you see they announced Harrison Ford is still... Did you see they announced Harrison Ford is still alive? Yeah, I think we were all surprised. I think we were all really surprised. It was very cute. It was really cute. I guess we can do this as a little clip for Trevor, but Harrison Ford Game Awards. It was a little mean to put Todd next to Troy, but like, look at this. Look at this. This was so sweet.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Now, as you know, the Game Awards for the last decade has celebrated the best performances in games by honoring some of my peers, some of my friends, like Nolan North, Roger Clark, yes, Laura Bailey.
Actually, Troy, have you ever won this award? Look, they do give...
Has he really not? Wait, has Troy Baker never won? I guess he hasn't. No way. How is that I guess because Joel was back 2013 for The Last of Us Part 1 before the Game Awards was a thing. And that would have been the easy one for him to win it. Uncharted 4, it was Nolan North for Nathan Drake in 2016. And he also did like Sam in that game, but obviously he wasn't going to win over Nolan. And then The Last of Us Part 2, wasn't it Laura Bailey that won it for Abby? That's so interesting. I guess I hadn't realized that he had never gotten it. I think Laura Bailey won it in 2020. I think. Yeah, he voiced so many characters, you'd expect him to win at least one. Yeah, but all of his like biggest roles, he's either co-starring in the Last of Us games or Uncharted. So he's probably not going to win over the actual star of the game. And yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it. Yeah, hopefully he is nominated for Indiana Jones next year, because I'll tell you what, the more I've played of that game, the more I'm blown away that that's Troy Baker. It sounds just like Harrison. Like, it's very, very impressive. Todd Short, ? Yes. Somebody sent me this. We'll finish the clip in a second. Ronan sent me this. Shout out Ronan. Where somebody just cropped it. It's a little funny. It's a little funny. Anyway, Harrison, what else is up?
Give an award for best indie game, and I think everybody here can agree you make a great case for best indie performance.
Oh. Well, I don't know about that. Thank you, though.
There was another guy though.
You mean the other guy?
He's pretty good. Pretty
Really
good.
Absolutely good.
I wonder what he thinks.
This is so cute. Oh crap, we're getting copyright struck, aren't we? Damn it, Todd. That's cool. Imagine having done a career, like worked in a career for decades and decades. Now you're just kind of like a grumpy old man. But people love that thing you did 45 years ago so much that you just walk forward and there's a standing ovation. How great is that? How great is that? You know? Easy peasy. That's the thing that has always blown my mind about some of these actors and actresses, is that they can do one big movie 30, 40 years ago, and it's so big that they are still, like, that defines their life. That's all anybody thinks about them for, talks about them for better or worse. And for some guys, like Harrison Ford has had a pretty prolific career. Of course, obviously in the 80s, he was very busy with Star Wars and Indy, 2 huge hits out of nowhere. But imagine for other guys, like Daniel Radcliffe. I was just at Universal Studios this past week. That's why I missed some streams. And it still blows my mind. Like, the dude is what now? Like 30 something? And he still has his face plastered everywhere. All of the bookstores, all of the bags, the merch bags, he's printed on him, but like his 12-year-old, 13-year-old self. It's wild to me. But like, it's also, you know, it comes with many perks. Comes with a lot of perks, like a standing ovation at a Game Awards show, even though you don't play video games. Like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Sean Murray.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. While you're on your feet, let's give a big round of applause to these two guys for the great circle.
See what I mean? Where everybody was like, I can't tell if he's just old or drunk or high. I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell. Sounds drunk. Here's the thing at these award shows. In the back, there's the green rooms. Okay. And if Harrison freaking Ford is coming to your award show, you better believe that they're going to have some nice stuff there. Okay. He's getting the champagne. He's getting the margaritas. He's getting the rum chata. He is drinking whatever he wants to drink. And if he's like feeling a little anxious about going on stage, shot, boom. Yeah, you can be a little sloshed, a little bit. Rum chata's fancy. It makes you feel fancy. There is a difference. And yeah, it's good. Rum chata is one of those things. You drink it like one time too much and you will never drink it again because it like will destroy your brain. It's too much. It's the same thing with like Jägermeister. Some people will drink that. I had a night where I had a lot of Jägermeister. And now if I even smell it, I'm like, just can't.
Thank you. I think this guy did a great job.
Todd, hi, it's Todd from Bethesda Game Studios.
Oh,
I
hi,
want
Todd.
you to help us on stage to advertise this indie game. Ford, WTF is a Bethesda.
Yeah. I would like to think like this moment is about to be very, very sweet. I would like to think that he probably found out like, hey, they're going to use your likeness. You're going to get a big payday for it. Or maybe that he sold his likeness as part of the deal. I don't know, but like years ago. But I think they told him they're doing an Indiana Jones video game. They have a voice actor who's going to mimic your voice because you're so expensive. So that's what we're doing. Unless you want to lower your price and do it yourself, that's what we're doing. He's like, I'm not doing that. What's a video game anyway? Yeah, so I think he turned it down. And then they did it with Troy Baker. And I would like to think that Harrison Ford, when he saw the performance and heard the performance, he was like, Jesus, that wow. Because it is ridiculously impressive. Imagine if anybody else studied your mannerisms so finely that they could perfectly mimic you. I mean, that is very impressive. This isn't like an SNL impression. This is like 1-to-1. Very, very cool. Rum chata, Luke, are you 17? Mentally, yeah. And then this is just so sweet. Look at this.
I think this guy did a great job. If I'd known he was so good, I would have done it myself. Boy, let's get... And now, we're here to present the award for Best Performance.
Like scroll the
Here are
teleprompter.
the nominees. And the winner is Melinda Juergens.
That's very sweet. It's very sweet. Out of the winners, like Brenna White, great. Hannah Tell, great. Humberly, great. Luke Roberts, great. But Melina is like, again, always very impressive. I was just bummed that their game was so short and lame. But the performance was amazing. Just the game, really disappointing. Oh, and Flu Guy, there he is. Wow. Well, there you go. So anyway, that was very sweet. Very, very cute. I love it. Oh, dude, it was Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog turned off their comments for Intergalactic. PlayStation left them up, and Naughty Dog turned them off. That's a great way to attract more of that. I'm just warning you. I don't think that helps. I don't think that helps. You should add the dislike add-on. Yeah, I've experimented with it. In my experience, it shows like double or sometimes even 3 times the discount or the dislikes than the video actually has. Like it greatly overestimates. I think with some types of videos it's different because my understanding of how that add-on works is that it it takes all the people that have the add-on installed, and it guesstimates that that makes up maybe 5% of the people watching, or 10% of the people watch, whatever the stat is. And then it extrapolates based on how many people with that extension dislike the video, what the dislike ratio is. So if they're like, oh, we guesstimate that 5% of the people watching this video have this extension, and they're voting with this percentage of like to dislike, if we extrapolate that out across the rest of the people that don't have the extension, this is what we predict the dislike ratio will be. The problem with that is that people who have the dislike extension enabled are much more likely, it seems, to dislike videos, which kind of makes sense. Like if you care about dislikes that much, you're probably using them more. So the people that have it installed are way more likely to dislike a video than the people without the extension installed. So it tends to inflate the dislike counts. In my experience, like I've tried the extension, like on some of my own videos, and sometimes it's within like 5%. Other times it's double. It shows in the extension double the dislikes. It says like there's 200 dislikes and 8,000 likes or whatever, when in reality it's only 100. Or if it's a really controversial, spicy video or something, and I upset like indie fans, maybe it says there's like 600 dislikes, but in reality on my like YouTube side it shows 300. So like it's not that accurate. I know it's easy to like look at it and then laugh about like to dislike mass downvoting, but it's just not that accurate. So I stopped using it once I verified how inaccurate it was. But I think it does tell you broadly like where there is an emotion, because if you do see a massive like downvoting, it shows you that a lot of people are downvoting it. Are those people going to buy the game, or were they ever going to? Probably not. Or maybe they will, but it's just, it doesn't give you much useful information. Let's see. Where was I? I don't like and dislike a lot of video. I mean, I don't really like to dislike videos, honestly, but also shout out to Trev Dog. In a matter of like a week, look what this madman has done. Our third channel has blown up to 1,000 subs without any real active promotion. How crazy is that? Trevor is an all-star. Like, how crazy is that? It's ridiculous. He's going off. It's going off. So shout out to Trev, doing amazing work, an amazing job. Yeah. Booyah. Okay. Is it time? I should catch up on these, and then we'll talk about another elephant in the room. The Witcher trailer, which I'm so excited for. Like, you know how on Discord you can make your like custom status? Sometimes you can leave it by default and it just like pulls whatever game you're playing and shows, ooh, Luke Stevens is playing whatever. For me, I set the custom status like a year ago, and it was just daydreaming about The Witcher 4. And now I don't have to. I can actually see it. It's great. So we'll talk about that in just a second. When will RE9 get announced now? I want it badly. As I predicted last week, I think they wait until after Monster Hunter, because it's another Capcom game, and I think all of their marketing effort goes into Monster Hunter Wilds before they put any effort into other games. I just don't think they want to cross wires if they don't have to, which makes sense. Like, focus on Monster Hunter and then do Resident Evil after that. I think that's easy enough. Yeah. Mia, thank you. Booyah. Where was I? Did anyone else notice how ridiculously dressed everyone was at the show except for the Chinese and Japanese devs? I mean, people like to dress up. People really go for it. I know a couple people that went to the Game Awards last night, and they got their outfits months in advance. And they went and they started getting ready at like 10 a.m. They went and like hired the whatever makeup people to come and do it. And they hired the tailor to fix their suit. Like people went all in. It's like the Oscars of gaming, but F the Oscars, man. F the Oscars. He's just a little guy. Outer World 2 thoughts? I have that pulled up too. We'll look at that. And yes, you're right. Todd is just a widow guy. He... He's just a little guy. He's just a widow fella. He's just a widow guy. And to be fair, how tall is Troy Baker? He's got to be like 6'4", 6'6" or something. Troy Baker height 6'3" it says. I don't know how accurate that is, but 6'3". It's pretty good. So is Todd this small or is Troy Baker actually this tall? Todd is 5'5" apparently. I will say Todd is little. Todd's a little fella. When I went to E3 2019 and I saw Todd and Elon on stage together, like they were shockingly different in size. Like Elon, you might not realize Elon is like a big dude. He's just like very tall and very broad. So like I was in the audience at this event and Todd is just a little fella, but Elon's big, dude. And so next to each other, it looked like a giant. Like seriously. He's just a little guy. He's just a little guy. Okay. Or, okay, this is pretty... Okay, that's pretty funny. I'll give you that. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Yes, like climb up the microphone to talk into it. Sorry, Todd. Come on, Todd. You gotta know. We gotta make these jokes. Like this is just too easy, man. This is just too easy. He could fit inside one of Troy's pant legs just fine. It's like a tent for him. He could set up like a little swing, build a little slide, twirling around. It could be great. Oh, Todd just blacklisted you forever. Yeah, that's fair. I think I already was blacklisted. I heard some rumblings of why Bethesda wasn't super thrilled and didn't want to hook us up with codes and stuff. But yeah, I think there's some people at Bethesda that are not super happy. Dude, okay, this, before we get into the Witcher stuff, I guess we'll pull to this and we'll reference this because it's also brain dead. I think a lot of these people are trolling. I'm going to show you guys one thing. Tell me if this is trolling. Because it looks like trolling. Zaya. Pointing to bits in the Witcher trailer. Enlarged orbicularis oris, too compressed glabella, Nasian bridge too high, body of zygomatic bone is too high. Pointing to like arrows at different points on the face. Like this, I think this is bait. Like there's no, I think 95-ish% of these types of posts are just rage baiting. I don't think anybody is doing this and like actually serious. If they are serious, wow. Like we can all imagine the type of person that would say that type of thing. Well, actually, the diverticulitis simulacrum bone is not quite where it needs to be, so it's not that great. I'm actually starting to think that she's not that pretty. We all know the types of people that would do this. I don't know. I cannot believe somebody would actually say this type of thing and be serious. And so maybe it's like a self-defense mechanism where my brain is like, no. No. Oh man, it's so bad. It's so stupid. But that's where we are now. I was gonna just look something else, something up. Oh, I know what it was. Poe's Law. I've pointed to this a lot in this 2024 era of gaming, but Poe's Law is an adage of internet culture which says that without clear indication of the author's intent, any parodic or sarcastic expression of extreme views can be mistaken by some readers for sincere expression of those views. In other words, you reach a point when you get so down the rabbit hole and sound totally insane, people can't tell if you're joking or serious. People can't tell if it's satire or if somebody's actually seriously arguing that this means the game is bad, I guess, or woke or something. Like, but the problem, like the problem is we can't tell. And for the people that actually talk like this and are like this, that should be a wake-up call that you are so far down the extreme, people can't tell if you're serious or not. Like, that's how crazy you sound. The average person thinks you're joking, but you're serious. Like, that's how crazy we've gotten. It's a problem. It's a problem. But we'll watch the trailer now. We'll do that. Are you happy we're playing as Ciri, or do you prefer we create our own Witcher? I'll talk about that as we go through the trailer. Quick and easy answer is that
Arrow 28 is now a member.
Quick and easy answer is that I think that this is a solid, justifiable choice. I think both could have worked, but I think them choosing to go with Ciri makes sense as they're wanting to continue it. They also said like they're not going to do The Witcher 4 as the title. It's not going to be its own. It's not going to be The Witcher 4. They're going to call it something else. And then they announced it, and it's called The Witcher 4. So I think at some point they made a change and they decided that they want it to feel more like The Witcher original trilogy and less like a total reboot. Because doing your own, like design your own Witcher could very easily start to make it feel more broadly fantasy, and they could do much less narratively with it. Whereas having a scripted character that you are playing with makes it much easier for them to design more complex stories around those characters, which I can understand why they'd want to do that. Like, I'm okay with it. But I think both could have worked, but I think this is totally fine. Vaughn, thank you for the 10. Why does every big upcoming game feature a female protagonist? Is there some super successful game I'm missing with female protagonist besides The Last of Us? It's immersion breaking, in my opinion. Confident CDPR can pull it off. Yeah, I mean, I think they did a great job with female V in Cyberpunk 2077. Even the playable segments of The Witcher 3 with Ciri were very good. I don't think there's any problem with it. Why there's so many with female protagonists right now, a lot of these games were greenlit in the era of a lot of government grants and things that were going out to increase, not just government grants, but also funding rounds from big organizations that were trying to push more diverse casts in various media. So if you had diverse casts, if you had diverse writing and stuff, you could qualify for extra government grants. Dustborn's a great example of a game that was funded in large part by those types of grants. It doesn't mean the game is necessarily going to be bad. It just means that they looked at it like, oh, we could have a male character or a female character. If we choose female, we can get a bigger bag. Just do that. So I don't think it's a problem. It's just, to a certain extent, it's just business savvy to go after the grant that you can get in one way or versus the other. It doesn't necessitate that the game is going to be bad. The game could be bad if that's like the extent of the creative input they had, like with Dustborn, where they were just like clearly chasing money. I think that was probably more of a money laundering scheme than anything else. But with this, I just think they're like, hey, we have Ciri. We signaled that we were probably going to use her in the end of the Witcher 3. Let's just use Ciri. I don't think it's anything that crazy beyond that. So, yeah. To me, it's really not a big deal at all. Same with Ghost of Yotei. I think they were just like, hey, let's shake it up a little bit. Sometimes the answer is unexciting like that. Like, where else was I? I think you underestimate the amount of losers on the internet. I can smell his room from here. Yeah, Edgar, that's very, very possible. But I think the fact that we can't tell if it's a troll or if it is like a no-life incel, that's what's really telling about that whole movement, maybe? I don't know what you'd call it. But that corner of the internet is that it's so ridiculous that you can't decipher it. Like, you can't tell if it's real or not. Critical Role messed up with expectations. Most nerds aren't models and actors. They're Todd Howard. I mean, Todd, I don't think Todd's a bad looking guy. And I'm not just saying that because I have a candle of him and a cardboard cutout. I realize this isn't helping my case. But yeah, I mean, Critical Role did a lot. Let's see, where was I? Mia for Xmas, I want a Jacob Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is Dead song. Yeah, Jacob, maybe we got to work on that. Now that Suicide Squad, I mean, technically it's going to be dead in January after the last episode 8 update or whatever. But maybe we write that song. That could be good. JFD, thank you for that. Should I buy the discounted Dragon Age Veilguard? Never played Dragon Age. It's hard to recommend. Depends on how discounted it is. It's just like, it's not great. It's not great. So if you get it on a discount, you can have a fine time with it. Maybe for like $30 or something like that. But yeah, just as long as you understand, it's far from like a masterpiece, but you can have some fun with it. Alcohol is poison. Cheers, boys. Cheers, Philip, to your poison. Okay, I think we're caught up there. Tank Barry, thank you for the sub with Prime over there. Monk, thank you also for the sub with Prime over on Twitch. And Optimus, thank you for that. Bits, I love space so much. I always chose space over anything, so I'm on board. Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, it's sci-fi versus fantasy. For some people, it's a clear distinction. My buddy from college, he hates sci-fi, but loves fantasy. He will not play a sci-fi game. But other people, they can play both and it's fine. Some just have light preferences one way or the other. But for me, I'm much more fantasy than I am sci-fi. Do you think Arcane deserved the award over Fallout? I think the word adaptation carries a lot of weight. I think adaptation to me brings to mind, like, how did you adapt the source material into a new medium? And I think Fallout did a really good job of that. Arcane also did a great job, but I'm not upset about it. I saw some people actively infuriated by it, but the award is not like, which is the best video game inspired show. It was best adaptation. And for that, I can understand why they might give it to Fallout. Either one could win, and I think it'd be totally justifiable, but yeah, I'm not mad about it. I think it's like, yeah, no, it's a good adaptation. Yeah, Arcane is a different thing though. Fallout is like 1-to-1 to a game. Yeah, and that's why, like, you could argue that it's even more an impressive adaptation because it doesn't feel like League of Legends, but it's in that universe and everything. So you could say it's an even more impressive adaptation. I personally think Arcane is a much better show, but I think it's totally justifiable either way. Tremendous. Aren't we all just winners in the end? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Let's see, where else was I? Oh, you guys kept going. Vaughn, thank you for the 10. Very generous. Why does every big upcoming game? Oh, I just read that one. Quay, I'm so sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Race, thank you for that. How do you think they're going to balance Ciri's superpowers she had teleporting into other realities, etc.? I really don't know. That's my answer. I don't know. Because she's really overpowered even in The Witcher 3. I don't know how they balance that other than like some mass cataclysmic issue and something or other has caused her to become weaker. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm sure they thought about it. She lost someone. She became a Witcher. Done. Sure. You're going to have some lore stands that probably are upset about that. But yeah, I mean, you could just easily hand wave it away like that. Let's see. Banana, real quick. Thank you for that 5. Witcher 4 is super contentious right now. I'm happy with playing as Ciri. It seems the new Witcher school could have made mutations less lethal. Yeah, I mean, they can make it work 1,000 different ways for sure. I think hardcore Witcher lore fans will probably have bones to pick. Already in the trailer, there's some inconsistencies with the established lore, so they're definitely massaging it, but does that make the game bad? I don't personally think so. Maybe it will, but as of right now, I don't think there's any indication of that. Where was I? Nissan, thank you for that 5. Ciri isn't the issue for myself and others. The intent behind the changes to Ciri and to the lore are what people are discussing. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, to be clear, there are people that are complaining about Ciri, like we saw people saying that they've gone woke because they never paid attention to the news where this was signaled 1,000 times over, and you know, they've never read books or anything. So there are people that are freaking out about that, but some people are upset about the lore stuff. But yeah, no, there's some people that are upset about that. I think they're still going to play it, but El Goki, thank you for that one. Ghost of Yotei has a female character because Mount Yotei is called by the natives the female mountain, like Jin was the storm, she is the mountain. Yeah, but they also chose to make it set around Mount Yotei. If they wanted a male protagonist, they could do that. They just chose to go female because they thought it would be a cool reversal and shake it up a little bit. And I mean, that's fine. Like, it's not part of a grand conspiracy or anything. Banana Blitz, thank you for the 2. You think Arcane deserved the award? Oh, I did read that one. And then Blake, thank you for the 10. Then we're going to watch this after this, everybody. Blake, thank you for the 10. The anti-woke crowd have made some great points, and they have been proven right to be right, but they are way too gung-ho and need to pick their battles. It makes it hard to take them seriously. I'm stoked for Ciri. I think the danger is crying wolf too much over some games. Like you saw people trying to cancel Indiana Jones because there was one person with like a pride flag t-shirt in one of the like development blogs, and they were saying that therefore the game should be canceled, you know, not actually literally canceled, but like, you know what I mean? People should not buy it because of that. And then the game ended up being pretty good. And so it's just, because there's no careful consideration, it's just the moment they see anything that they can jump on, the world is ending. It makes it so you never know what is an actual problem and what is just another freak out for no reason. It's the danger with Puritan thought processes. Like, once you start just trying to set up a really basic checklist of if something does not meet these criteria, or if it meets just this one, therefore now it's terrible and awful, you don't account for nuance. Like, you're going to end up looking kind of silly after a little while. As we've seen with like even the Witcher 4 trailer, where people are like trying to argue that Ciri is not hot enough and therefore it's gone woke or something, when that's just like, it's a little silly. In my opinion. There's other things with CDPR you can point to, like they've got a team for inclusivity and stuff, and they've done that type of thing. But again, I don't think we've seen anything directly that is worrisome. directly related to this. Let's see. And then Mark, thank you for the 5. Most of the games broke the lore from the books, and the games are all just fan fiction. Yeah, I mean, I understand some lore experts will be upset, but I do know, like, obviously you have to massage the lore a good amount to make a video game interesting. And then R, thank you for the 5. It's a shame how the Basement Dweller opinions on things like Siri get roped in with genuine criticism about modern writing. Dragon Age, Veilguard, Forspoken, Suicide Squad. Yeah, no. And there is a concerted effort to try and blend them together. Because if you can blend those conversations together, then you can hand wave away critiques and criticism, even if it's valid, as just part of the, as you said, basement dweller arguments and freakouts. And you don't have to actually like think about that. And I think that's why those things often get kind of merged together. But that's why it's really crucial for there to be a clear delineation. Like, people come into chat and are often like, Luke, why aren't you making more videos about SBI or something? I'm like, 'cause for me, it just isn't really interesting. I'm interested in like the video games and whether the games are good or bad. I don't care that much about like the culture war stuff beyond just if it makes the games I want to play bad. Then I have a problem. But I'm a video game YouTuber and streamer. You shouldn't listen to me when it comes to like political stuff. I have no idea what I'm talking about. You shouldn't care. I talk about video games, and if a video game is bad, I'll talk about that. But nobody should listen to what a YouTuber says about politics. That's dumb. Like, that's stupid. It's like during the election, people kept coming into chat being like, who are you going to vote for? What do you think about this or that? I'm like, you should not care what I think. Like, I am a YouTuber. I sit in a chair and talk about video games. If you were to make a voting decision based on my opinion, you are dumber than a dummy. Like, you need help at that point. But that's ultimately not what they're interested in. They want to make sure you pass like the Puritan check. And if you don't agree with me, we are going to try to destroy you. And like, that's just why it's so stupid. So we just don't bite. We just don't do it. Mono, thank you for that. I liked Ciri more than Geralt in The Witcher 3, but I'm disappointed about her being the protagonist instead of making your own character. I wish I could experience the universe at my own premises and not just witnessing her story. I think that's totally fair. Yeah, as somebody asked earlier, they're like, what do you think about playing Ciri versus make your own Witcher? I think either one would be a defensible, reasonable thing for them to do. That's cool. Totally fine. I think they could go customizable or Ciri. They could have gone with another more niche character from the books, or they could have gone just totally invented new Witcher, and it's like Cyberpunk. You pick male or female. I don't know what the name would be, like Vox, and that's the Witcher that you're going to play with. They could have done any of those, and I think it would have worked just fine. Each of them have pros and cons, but as we'll discuss, I think the specific benefit of using a scripted character is that you can have a lot more nuance and detail in writing, in cutscenes, in that stuff. I think that's the key. Yeah, Luke, I'm sorry. You're right. We'll never watch this trailer. Sorry, you guys are being too generous. God damn. Stop giving me money. Okay, Jacob, I'm going to leave it there. Jacob Bible, and I'll get back to that after we watch the trailer because people have spoken. Is it the glasses? Is that why you guys are being so generous? Probably. I knew it. You guys are too sweet. Okay, let's do it. You ready? I'm not. New segment. It happened, guys. It was on my bucket list, and now it's on our to-do list. I was trying to think of a rhyme. I didn't, obviously. The Witcher 4 announced, revealed. It was technically already announced, but it's been revealed. And there's a lot of interesting little tidbits in this. Some obvious, some more nuanced, but the trailer's here. The trailer is about 6 minutes long, cinematic reveal trailer. I am here for it. Let's just, without dilly-dallying, kick it off. And I'll kind of pause as we go through. If you want to watch it uninterrupted, like obviously you probably already have by the time you're saying this, but I'll be stopping it and going through it as we go. The first and most obvious thing is cinematic trailer pre-rendered in Unreal Engine 5 on an unannounced NVIDIA GeForce RTX GPU. Pretty obviously that's like a 5090 or something, but what's not clear to me is they say pre-rendered in Unreal Engine 5. So my question is like, is this pre-rendered, meaning this is what it will look like on a 5090 in real time? Or do you just mean that this is an in-engine cutscene that you rendered out with an RTX 5090 and it took 10 minutes per frame to render? It's not really clear. I've seen some people look at this and they interpret it as this is what it will look like on a 5090 running in real time once that card comes out. But to me, this could easily just mean that it was an in-engine trailer that was designed in Unreal Engine, but then it was encoded with the RTX, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it won't actually look like this in real time, but it's just pre-rendered. I am more inclined to lean into the idea that this is not what it's going to look like in real time, because if it is, oh God. I'm not ready for that. But we'll see. We'll see. I do think that this is an interesting little tidbit though. Like I told you guys for months, CDPR with Cyberpunk, they were the buddies with NVIDIA, and NVIDIA was like, look at all of our overdrive path tracing, ray reconstruction, all of our crazy new graphical bells and whistles. CDPR and NVIDIA have always had that simpatico relationship. And then they moved over to Unreal. And I've said 1,000 times, this game, The Witcher 4, is going to be used as the showcase game for Unreal Engine and for NVIDIA's stuff. So you better believe that we're going to see a lot of this game, and it's going to look insane because NVIDIA is going to use it to sell their graphics cards, and Unreal is going to use this to sell their engine to other studios. So this one game is going to be a graphical powerhouse, I think, on a level we haven't seen with open world games before, certainly. And I think it's going to be totally insane. As will the price for whatever this is. There's been rumors that it will be, anywhere from $2,000 to $2,500 for the 5090. It very well, if the game could actually run like this, I think you'll see scalpers and MSRP start to shoot up over like the $3,000 mark for the 5090. If it actually runs anywhere near this level, it's going to be ridiculous. So buckle up, buckaroo. You thought you were already going broke next year with all the games coming out? Well, just wait. Because there's also going to be hardware and a new Switch and all that stuff. So, oh God. Okay, we're 3 seconds in and I'm already rambling. Let's go. Flowers confirmed.
Dearest daughter, I've watched ye grow from a devilishly curious child into a remarkable young lass with much grace, wisdom, and kindness. Take the easy times what shape us, nay.
Oh God, the sword looks so good.
'Tis how we rise to face the hard times, what does that for us. Even heart of gold. You've the spirit to overcome adversities aplenty. Darling. Sweeten. Today's the day. Ye fill out your destiny.
Ah! The second I saw that, I was just, oh my God! Oh God! It's happening! Oh God! What's the word? Climax. That's what happened. The other very real argument that this is what the game could look like in cinematics is with some of the artifacting. Because as with all things, you can tell a lot about any given trailer or gameplay footage or anything, not based on what looks good, but based on the imperfections, based on the things that aren't quite right. That's where you can tell a lot, whether it's with frame drops or whether it's with draw distances or texture quality or culling of objects or screen space reflections, that type of thing. With this, though, I want you to watch the fringes on the corner of, oh, my camera's covering it, the corner of the shoulder, and then also this fabric. So you see this type of artifacting is not something you typically see in fully pre-rendered cinematics. It's possible that this is an encoding issue. It's possible, but like specifically with the cloth, because there's an effect with video. What's it called? Moire, I think. The Moire effect, I think is how it's pronounced. It's that thing when you have a really fine line. You know, what happens when people are wearing like striped t-shirts and stuff, and then you get the weird distortion in the image, you know what I'm talking about? That type of thing can happen with like cloths in games that are finely striated. So there might be a pattern on this, and that's causing that distortion to hit. So that could potentially be like an encoding artifact. But what isn't an encoding artifact, but is actually just the game, is the little flickering of whatever this would be, the pauldrons, maybe? The shoulder bits right here, where you can see some distortions in these areas. Where it has to do with how it renders the depth of field and it blurs things out. A handful of Unreal Engine games have had this problem before. So it's like, oh, this might actually be like not just the totally crazy high fidelity pre-rendered cinematic, which I think a lot of us were braced for. This might actually be in-game, quote unquote, which would be insane. Because if you don't remember the Witcher 3 cinematics, these were made by like a separate team, and these were not designed like in the actual game engine. These were not running in the Red Engine. This was where they shared the assets basically with another company, and then the other company worked on it and developed this trailer that looked outrageously beautiful. But this was never actually in the game, right? You know what I mean? Whereas what we're seeing with The Witcher 4 seems to actually be in the game, which is super, super cool to see. All these Witcher trailers, man, they've always gone so freaking hard. They are not easy to watch sometimes, though. They're tough. But let's continue. But I wanted to point that out because it's little imperfections like that should make you go, oh. It's very promising.
Forgive me, daughter. 'Twere my only choice.
I shall be the bringer of salvation.
A witcher? Witcher! Whose coin did ye take? Nay, you can't. 'Tis tradition. Chosen she is, by the gods.
No! You chose her.
The Cat Eyes! Or as my favorite NPC in The Witcher 3 called them, the Puss Peepers. They're here. Now, obviously, the selection of Ciri as the protagonist is it's not even bold, but it's a very clear indicator of where I think that this game is going. Okay. They had some options, you know, there were rumors that they might go choose your own Witcher, where you like make a character creator and you actually design your character. There were of course rumors that they were going to have Ciri as the playable character because she was kind of set up to be that at the end of The Witcher 3, with what I believe they established was the canon ending. And then the other option was that they go with a totally like original character, maybe either inspired by the books or just totally written from scratch, kind of like what they did with Cyberpunk, where they give you kind of an origin story and you can pick male or female, kind of design it, but it follows the same like rough storyline and archetypes that they could plan for. Each of them have benefits and perks, to be very clear. So for some of these options, some people would have connected with them much more. Others, you know, other players would. Choosing Ciri has the perks of being able to write quests, write a main story, write cool new abilities, things like that around Ciri as a character. And if you've read the books, if you're familiar with the lore, if you're even passingly familiar with The Witcher, you know what Ciri is capable of and how the books revolve around her, basically. They have a lot of material to work with her. Downside is players get less agency. So it will play much more like The Witcher 3, where you are playing a character that they have written. There's, of course, customization of your character as far as equipment. There are, of course, different choices to be made within the archetype of Ciri, but you're still playing Ciri either which way. It's not like a Fallout New Vegas level RPG or a Baldur's Gate level RPG. That's not what this is. So that's what I take from this, is that this is going to be much more like The Witcher 3 than it will be a totally open-ended RPG like you got with some other recent games. If they did choose your own character, it could be much more open-ended, much more free, but then there would be the limitation of the questing being much more limited, of the main story being much less personalized to the character because they don't know what kind of character you're playing as. So there's less flexibility there, or there's too much flexibility there. There's less rigidity and things that they can plan around. So I think either one would have been a solid choice, and I'm not upset either which way. In terms of what I was like hoping for, I guess, I don't know if I was hoping directly for one over the other. The playable, like customizable character would have been really cool to actually make your own Witcher from scratch if they really leaned into player agency and freedom, but also being able to write stuff very carefully and more methodically for a given character also gives us a ton of perks with increased like cinematic value and deeper stories that way. So either way, I think it's a solid option. I'm not bothered either which way. I know some people are really disappointed to see that the Witcher has been selected for us, basically. I think it would have been a win either which way. Bye. She's gonna die. This reminds me of the quest in The Witcher 3 with the tree.
Back to the village. Go, now.
Nay! I must save them! Save the village!
Save yourself!
Did I just see?
Now.
Hold on.
Nay! I must save them! Save the village!
Save yourself!
No, I'm seeing things. I thought I saw one of the ribbons like glitch out just for a frame or two, but I think I was seeing things. Interesting tidbit. The voice actress for Ciri does not seem to be the same one. It seems that they have gone with a new voice actress. Not as bright a voice, much darker and grittier, which probably reflects the fact that, like, you know, Ciri is the Witcher now, so it makes sense as far as mutations are concerned. And older. Yeah, you're right.
Run! To shelter! To your father! Run!
People who are calling her like ugly, like what is wrong with you? Come on, man. Tell me you've never touched a woman other than your mother without telling me. Like, come on, man. I showed this before we did this segment. I really honestly believe that a lot of these people that are doing this, yeah, that's a handsome woman right there. You're damn right. A lot of people that are doing this, I think, are trolling. I don't think the people that are saying that Siri is ugly are like actually being for real. Most of them are trolling. Like, I don't believe that anybody is typing this out and be like, I showed them. Enraged orbicularis oris, too compressed glabella, Nasion bridge too high, body of zygomatic bone is too high, with arrows pointed at the... No shot this person has ever touched a woman if this is real. But I think they're trolling, personally. I think this is trolling. I think it's just bait. So I whenever I see people pointing to like this shot and being like, wow, so ugly, I'm like, you're trolling. Like, come on. Good try. But it's really hard to tell. And it's because like there's a term online for this that I talked about a second ago. Poe's law, an adage of internet culture which says that without clear indication of the author's intent, any parodic or sarcastic expression of extreme views can be mistaken by some readers for sincere expression of these views. Basically, the term like you're being a Poe or are you a Poe is, are you being so extreme that I can't tell if you're being serious? Because you reach a point where you sound so insane and crazy that I can't tell if you're serious or not. Because you could be serious and you're just outside of your mind, or you're trolling. But I can't tell the difference anymore because everything is insane. Everything is crazy. I can't tell anymore. But I'm pretty sure that most of the people that are saying this stuff about Siri are trolling. There are people offering good faith, like serious critiques of this trailer because there are some tidbits which seem to rework, to put it generously, some elements of the Witcher lore. Some people that are far more equipped to discuss the intricacies of the lore, as is established. But and those critiques are very interesting and compelling. But I'm specifically talking about the people that are complaining about Siri's like design. I think most of those people are trolling, personally. Am I that bothered by the lore discrepancies? Personally, I haven't seen any that I'm like really upset about. But, you know, maybe time will tell if another one comes into my purview. If anybody has a list of those discrepancies, maybe let me know or link it or something in the chat and we can look at that after the trailer. But yeah, I think most people that are talking about Siri being ugly are trolling because come on. Drink that potion! Nani?
Cannot be changed. You cannot change anything.
Hard. That's me right now. It's pretty fire. Huh. Come on, man. Come on. That's pretty Gucci. It's pretty Gucci. Even some of these like little details, like the cobwebs that have gotten caught in the shoulder pad, like, oh man. It's not gonna end happy.
She went to go to the woods. The chosen one. His tradition.
Oh no, no, no.
It's all we wanted. For her to go to the woods. To go to the gods.
Gods? There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
Yes. Tight. Yeah, Tuco would love that. Man. Wowza. Okay, the comments are funny. Find out if Geralt is in Skellige. Find out if Geralt is in Velin. Find out if Geralt is in Novigrad. That's funny. Can't wait to see my boy Geralt enjoying his life in his vineyard. Dude, if we can actually go to Toussaint and visit Geralt and Yen chilling in Corvo Bianco and just vibing, dude, that'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. I think they actually finished with it. Oh no, during the Game Awards there was a little voiceover, but yeah, I think it looks fantastic. I think it looks very, very, very good. No real surprise. I was trying to find the other tab of the Witcher story, and then I just came across this one. It's just so funny to me. So they talked about this. They went to IGN and they talked about the choice to go with Ciri over continuing with Geralt as protagonist. And to be clear, they said like whatever that would be 8 years ago that Geralt's story was over, that they tied it up. They're good. Okay, who said Todd's low-hanging fruit? That's funny. That's good. That's funny. Oh, man. Yeah, we're not punching down here. No? Not great? No? Okay. Moving on. So they talked about this, and they said, speaking exclusively to IGN ahead of the reveal, executive producer Malgorzata Mitrega said Ciri was, quote, the very organic, logical choice. It was always about her, starting from Saga when you read it in the books. She's an amazing layered character, and of course, as a protagonist, we say goodbye to Geralt, or we said goodbye to Geralt previously. So this is a continuation. I guess for all of us, it's like she was meant to be. That was always her. And I think this is the key. This has been seen as a continuation of The Witcher 3 instead of like a brand new, entirely separate trilogy, which I think was where there was debate and confusion, because I think for some fans, they heard Geralt's trilogy is over, a new trilogy is about to begin. Okay, this is going to be totally separate. They're going to do something totally different. It's not going to be tied to that. We're going to be doing our own thing. And that doesn't seem to be the case. Like, they are continuing on probably like a decade or two later after the events of The Witcher 3, where Geralt's still around. They've already said that he's going to be in the game, but he's not like the protagonist or anything. And so I think that that's just where the confusion lay. I think for some people, they thought this was going to be totally separate, hundreds of years before or after, when in reality, it's just kind of a continuation of that story. I'm excited to see where it goes, obviously, but I think that that's just where some fans were confused, I think. Let's see. Oh, man. There are only monsters. How about a round of Gwent? Yeah, maybe. Feeling like a game? But, I mean, they really have struck, I think, the accurate tone. And that's the thing to remember is with a lot of these announcement trailers, it's much less about telling you exactly what the game's going to be. It's about establishing that tone and giving you a feeling for the game. Whether you look at the initial trailers for The Witcher 3, or you look at the initial trailers for like The Last of Us Part 2 with Ellie playing the guitar on the bed in this sort of dreamlike sequence. Those trailers are about establishing the vibe, the feeling, the tone. And as they've said before, like, it's also about showing the team, this is what we're doing. This is our goal. This is our vision. And so you've got to nail that. Otherwise you're off on the wrong foot. You know, you're going to be stumbling from the very, very start. And I feel like that is something that a handful of games have nailed with that initial announcement trailer that just hits the right vibe, like Doom, Dark Ages, that game's trailer, Doom, Dark Ages. I don't know about you guys, but like this trailer from the outset, I'm like, yep, I'm here, paying attention. I'm here for it. Not only is it edited really well, but it's also just really, really solid. Like, it just looks fun. It gives you an idea of what the game will feel like, what the game will play like. And obviously this has a lot more gameplay than what we saw with the Witcher cinematic trailer, but it establishes that tone and that vibe. And so when you're looking at those announcement trailers, you're hoping to see a really solid first showing that tells you what the game's going to feel like. And I think that that's what they nailed here, because this tone feels right for The Witcher. Just like when we go back and we watch these old trailers from The Witcher 3 posted 11 years ago in 2013. It's very dark and serious tone. It's not like a silly, goofy fantasy. Like, this is far from Dragon Age of Elgard. Very far from it, you know? So the fact that they struck that tone got me excited, because I was worried they were going to reinvent it for modern audiences, whatever that means, and it would just be toned down and sucky. And then they reveal it and it's got a Fortnite coat of paint on it, but they've not done that. And that makes me happy. So all told, I'm excited for it. I think it looks solid. It is pretty much exactly what I was hoping we would see at this point. And I think we're going to see a lot more of it moving forward. I think they're going to be showing it at NVIDIA showcases. We'll see it at the Unreal showcase that they do every year, the big one. It's going to be a visual powerhouse that they're going to rely on a lot. So buckle up. So it'll run like crap on AMD? Probably. But also maybe not, because it's also going to have console ports. So, and all consoles are running on AMD stuff. So it's not necessarily given that it runs like crap. Bro, this is Poland, a Polish studio. Everything is dark and black and gray. Yeah, it's great. What do you think about Game of the Year? For me, I think it's Metaphor ReFantazio, but I can also totally understand why people would give it to Astrobot. So, yeah. I am Astrobot. Astrobot. Okay. Anything else there? What do you think about the speech from Larian director? I thought it was good. Blake, I feel like we've been having too many lighthearted fantasy games. It's great getting stuff like The Witcher 4 and Onimusha, which bring back the dark and grittiness I feel was becoming rare. Yeah, I wonder, was there a really successful kind of lighthearted, silly fantasy game that would have kickstarted all this? Because usually, like, when you see, like, Overwatch pops off, then we get a bunch of Overwatch clones. Like, what was the inspiration for all of these lighthearted fantasy games? Fable? I don't know, because last Fable game was, like, 15 years ago or whatever. Like, it was a while back. I don't know. Breath of the Wild? Maybe. I think honestly part of it too was like they saw the overwhelming success of like The Witcher 3, and then Ubisoft made this successful pivot into sort of fantasy open world games with like Origins and Odyssey, which are like historical fiction fantasy hybrids. And so maybe other studios thought they could just do that too, but with all these other things, like it's just like, I don't know what Dragon Age is. I don't know what that would have been inspired by. You think they're just influenced by Marvel? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not even games. Maybe it is just freaking Marvel movies. They're like, you guys love Thor Ragnarok. What if we just do that? And everybody's just super sarcastic all of the time. I do think there is something to be said for the theory that Marvel movies specifically and that writing infected gaming, because all of those Marvel movies when they were at their biggest is right around the time all of these games were getting their scripts written, all these games that have been flopping recently over the last couple of years. So that's very possible. Thor 3 is great though. Yeah, so to be clear, some of those Marvel movies, it works, but it works because like it is a world-class talent that's doing it. It's also a movie, so it's just not the same as a video game. With a movie, you can have quippy, quirky dialogue for 2 hours, and it might not be that grating. But for a video game, if you're going to do that nonstop for 20, 30, 40 hours, it's probably going to get grating. And for me, the frustrating bit is that they'll have characters that take nothing seriously inside of a story that is very serious. And so it just makes you like not take them seriously or the situation seriously. It just ruins the whole thing. Oh yeah. I can share this now. This is why I couldn't co-stream the Game Awards. This is what I was doing in New York City. I got to play a bunch of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. Yeah, we got Cog, Lord Petey. We've got Wolfheart, Neon Knight. Of course, the one and only Sir Toby. So I'll be able to talk about this later. A good bit later. But yeah, I did get to play it. It was super cool. It was also at OS NYC, which I will say, if you are in New York, this place is insane. Like, let me see if there's a picture I can show you. Website, maybe? It's like a gaming bar restaurant thing where like you can just go. It's like an internet cafe. They're really common in Asia and stuff. But if you want to just play games with your buddies or friends, they just have dozens of gaming PCs and stuff lined up. So you can go with your friends with like 10 of them, 10 friends, and all just play together. It's like really cool. It was a really cool venue. But we went there. We played a bunch of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 early, and I will share more in the future. But as of right now, that's all I got. Ken? All they told me was that I just can't I can't say more than that. But yeah, I funnily enough, I ran into Neon and Wolfheart at the Dragon Age event. So I had met these guys just like a month or two ago, and for another RPG that ended up being quite disappointing for many reasons. And so yeah, that was a big topic of conversation for sure at this thing. But it was really, really cool. It was really cool. Cog is as nice as can be, total sweetheart. I never met Lord Petey, but also a very nice guy. Just a bunch of gems. Some great fellas. Can't say I liked it. I am not allowed to say anything until a later date. As you can see, what Sir Toby says, yes, all participants were able to play roughly 7 hours with pretty much no limitations other than don't go beyond that quest, but not a single person arrived at that border. Everyone started to enjoy the open world and its secrets, so everyone had a different adventure. So, yeah, it's, we were given about 7 hours with the game, and I will talk about it when I can. Yeah, it was a good time. Really cool. So thank you, Sir Toby, for the opportunity. But I will talk to you guys about that later. But like I said, the reason I couldn't co-stream the Game Awards is because I got that opportunity, and they're like, but you got to get out to New York City at like, I mean, on Friday, you got to be here. And I was like, oh, okay. Hopping on a plane. We'll go. I'm sure nothing cool will be announced at the Game Awards. Oh, man. But I mean, I have to be careful. I'm going to shut up. Otherwise, I'm going to say something that'll get me in trouble. But yeah, I'll talk about that later. Okay. Okay. DC25, thank you for the 5. What would you think if Naughty Dog did an Uncharted prequel with young Nate and young Sully? I don't think, the thing is, like, Naughty Dog doesn't want to. Naughty Dog wants to move on. They want this to be their new thing, their new franchise. So they might give it to another studio to do that, but I don't think they would ever do it. As for whether I think that could work, yeah, I think it could work. But in the context of coming from a studio other than Naughty Dog, does it work? I'm not so sure. Because even their spinoff, The Lost Legacy, from a different team within Naughty Dog, I didn't think that was particularly great. And like, it was fine, it was good, but just not amazing. So I just don't think it would be good. The version we would get, I don't think would be that amazing. Let's see. Let me see where I'm at. I gotta catch up on these. Okay, let me catch up on these super chats real quick. It would have been interesting to not have mutations in The Witcher 4. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they have an all new leveling system, everything. We'll see what they did with it. Mono, thank you for the super chat. I liked Ciri more than Geralt in The Witcher 3, but I'm disappointed about her being the protagonist instead of making her own character. I wish I could experience the universe on my own premises and not just witness her story. I realize I already read this one, but yeah, I think that's also totally justified and fair. Jacob Bible, thank you for that one. Doom, Avowed, Outer Worlds, COD, Fable, and South of Midnight all come out next year. Do you think Microsoft needs to worry about GTA 6 overshadowing? No, because I think GTA 6 will dominate for a month and a half, like almost certainly whatever is around it. But Game Pass is not built around day one performance. Of course, they'd like it to have solid performance day one and sell copies on PlayStation. They'd love for that to happen. But like Game Pass as a business is built on building out the library. So even if you are playing the game a month after launch or 2 months after launch or 6 months after launch, as long as you are keeping your subscription, they are happy. So, you know, even if you are not playing South of Midnight because you're playing GTA 6 instead, as long as you eventually play it and you keep your membership, they're happy. So I just don't think it's that big of a deal for them. I don't think they have as high of stringent standards for performance as I think people are expecting. I think performance on PlayStation is a bigger deal, but that's also why they can delay that till later, like Indiana Jones, and precisely launch that in a spot that's better. Let's see, JFD. I bought an MSI Claw for $500, i7 1 terabyte. What's your thought about handhelds? What are you using as a handheld? Yeah, I have an ROG Ally, and then this is the OLED Steam Deck. I'm preparing for a trip to the Bahamas, and so I need all the handheld things available. Yeah. Who has no chill? Who has no chill? What's happening? I can't tell. Best handheld. I feel like. Oh wait, I think I know what's happening. Sorry about it. I'm trying to fix it. Okay. As for what's the best handheld, it's basically just ROG Ally is probably the most powerful one with the Lenovo Legion, whatever. But battery life is a problem. And then the Steam Deck is really great for battery life and portability and Steam compatibility and stuff, but it also does not run Windows. So you can get things like Game Pass working, but it requires a lot more hoops to be jumped through. So there's stuff like that. The Dono, Luke. Oh, that's why I have it scrolled up on my screen, so I haven't seen the new ones that came in. Okay. Let me see. Where else was I? Okay. OS, thank you for that one. Hi, Luke. The most disappointing thing that disappointed me is that Stellar Blade didn't win a single award. Yet, I don't think it's the type of game that appeals to a lot of the journalists that were voting on this. Hear me out, ... I'm guessing that happened during the Siri reveal. We need answers to the real question. Will Gwent be in the game? I'm ready to be addicted all over again. I would imagine it is. They canceled, didn't they shut down like the mobile version? I think they did. Siri, Thingamano. Siri is a very good / moral character. What do you think that means for role playing? Don't get me wrong, I like Siri, but will it dumb down the game? No more than Geralt. Like I said, I think it's not going to be a Baldur's Gate level, like do an evil playthrough or anything. It's going to be a game that plays very similarly to The Witcher 3, which is not a problem because I love The Witcher 3. But I think if people are expecting like Baldur's Gate or something to play Dark Urge, then yeah, they'll be disappointed. But nobody's saying it's going to be like that. So I don't think it'll be dumbed down. It'll just be different. Banana Blitz, thank you for that one. Legit just looks like an older version of The Witcher 3. Oh, you mean the cinematic trailer we looked at? I don't know. That cinematic looks way more cinematic. Thank you for that one. Would indeed. Great work, son. Thank you for the 5. There are only monsters. How about a round of Gwent? Indeed. I would love that. Gooner Dan, what a name. Thank you for the 5. Siri this, Siri that. I just want more mother effing Gwent. Don't we all? Tenacious, thank you for that one. Gonna watch the Witcher trailer breakdown too. From who? From who? Who did a good story trailer or a good trailer breakdown? Blake, thank you for the 10. I feel like we've been having too many lighthearted fantasy games. It's great getting stuff like The Witcher 4 and Onimusha. Oh yeah, we did read this one. Yeah, the lighthearted fantasy. I don't know when that started, but yeah. Bruh, man, thank you for the 5. Wow, I live in NYC and never knew about that place. Thanks. Yeah, it's in Chinatown. It's really cool. It's really cool. Like I said, those gaming cafes are really popular in like Asia, but they're not that popular here. In the US, like there's just not enough people to justify it. You just can't do it very easily. We used to have a place kind of like that, but ba 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 ba. I translated this message that was in simplified Chinese. This is like a fan fiction love letter to Black Myth Wukong. Now that the game has been officially released, those gorgeous fantasies have turned into gears of reality colliding, rubbing, and bursting with each other, and they are no longer as perfect as they were before. Like, bro. Sir, this is a Wendy's. Like, what? Oh, man. Huh. Oh, Nikki found her watch. I got Nikki an Apple Watch like a handful of months ago, or maybe last year. I don't know when I got it. Maybe for Christmas. But I got her an Apple Watch, and she she lost it. She's like, I just don't know where it went. Just can't find it. It's like a smartwatch, and it's like a nice one. I was like, what do you mean you can't find it? It's just gone. No idea. But she apparently just found it. It's been missing for like 2 months, and she just found it apparently. So there you go. Okay. So there you go. Where else was I? Let's see. $2 Temu undies. Now I see what you guys mean about that message. I also think that's somebody just rage baiting. So I've seen better attempts. I'll say. I'll say that. Breakdown is on the official Witcher channel. Oh, they did their own breakdown? Really? Where was it? It was apparently under the passenger seat in our second car. So just not where she thought it would be. Yeah, dude, isn't this crazy? Trevor just kickstarted this channel, and he's already doing 23K on clips videos that are 2 minutes long. That's crazy. Shout out to all of you who are subbed, by the way. There it is. I can't find the damn button. Shout out to all you guys who are subbed. If you're not subbed already, just quickly open this link and go sub. It takes 1 second, and you'll be one of the first. Wallace and Souza, thank you for the super chat. Xbox can't be better at anything when they try to be more than one thing. I was an assiduous user of xCloud until I met GeForce Now. xCloud 720p, GeForce 4K with ray tracing. This is revolutionary here in Brazil. Yeah, I think that's why Xbox is going into overdrive with the like buy play anywhere thing. It's a really solid idea, but it's just like you buy it through the Xbox store, you can play it on xCloud on your Xbox or on your PC, and you are good everywhere. It's really, really cool to see. But that makes it much more compelling, frankly. Okay. I will pull up that deep dive. And maybe we'll watch it after this if we have time. But I'm not sure yet. Okay. I want to talk about this now. Shifting gears. New segment. Lee Wei Tan, thank you also for subbing with Prime. That's fantastic. Jim Jam Flim Flam. That's great. Thank you also for subbing with Prime. Dark Apo, also thank you for the sub. Appreciate you for that. Peltzy, thank you for the sub as well. That's fantastic. Thank you, everybody. That's great. Am I going to be reacting to all of the Game Awards trailers? Not all of them, but all the big ones, all the important ones. Okay, let's talk about this one. New segment for real. Okay. One of the biggest surprises, I think, of the night came about halfway through, when there was a reveal that I think we all saw the first shot and we knew exactly what game this was, but it seemed to go directly in contradiction of what was previously said to us. It goes from black, fades in. Immediately, I think we all said, that looks like Elden Ring. That like a lot. Immediately. I think we all knew. But what was weird about that is that they had previously said, no, that we're done. I think Hidetaka Miyazaki specifically said we are not planning any DLCs or anything for Elden Ring. But they say that this is a Bandai Namco From Software collaboration. This is something that they have actually built. It is not a separate team, allegedly. Like, this is actually them. If we pull up the website, you can see this. They've got all this outlined From Software. But there's some interesting little tidbits here that I'll point out as we look through the trailer that are very, very weird. But it's a fascinating thing that they're doing here. But let's see. We'll play the trailer. There's still question marks around this game, but this, I saw this and I was like, are they doing an Elden Ring like battle royale where the fog is closing in? I was like, what is this game? Because so far we'd only seen one character running. We'd only seen one set of feet. But I was like, what is happening? Because I thought it was a separate team. I was like, they're probably going to have some other company doing it. It's going to be a Dark Souls 2 situation. But it says From Software. Okay.
Seekers of redemption. You were chosen.
And then a mount.
Thrown together by forces beyond their control.
And then multiple players. And then it was like, oh. Big co-op. Okay.
Tragedy must be averted. And for that, I need your help.
New vertical mount system. Climbing and free running, sort of. Nameless King? Isn't that his name? What? What? So here's at least what it seems to me. And if please, if I'm wrong, correct me, people in chat, because it looked earlier like we had Dancer of the Boreal Valley. Here we have Nameless King, like 1-to-1. It seems like this is now a co-op Elden Ring hybrid that has basically just copy and pasted bosses from Dark Souls 3 into this as well for, I guess, sort of a boss rush mode. Interestingly enough, Alfie says it's a roguelike. Yeah, so we'll, because I think, is that what's outlined on the the full description. Night Rain is a standalone adventure within Elden Ring universe crafted to bring a new gaming experience. Okay. Join forces with other players to take on the creeping night and dangers, featuring 3-player co-op. Become a hero, take command of uniquely skilled heroes, each possessing their own abilities and distinct flair. While individually powerful, their skills grow even more formidable as united as a team, or when united as a team. And then overcome a relentless environmental threat that sweeps through the land that changes between each game session to defeat the magnificent boss of that night. So it seems like every day it's going to change. I don't know if it's actually day or if it's each session it reloads into a different boss. But it seems to be a procedurally generating roguelite that has co-op. So it is, as I say, like a standalone co-op action survival game. Also available on PS4 and Xbox One. To me, like, this is just bringing up so many freaking questions. I'm like, what on earth? What even is this? Because, like, they also say uniquely skilled champions, which suggests that this isn't going to be like the RPG. You're not going to be building out your specific character or leveling them up or anything. You're selecting your character with their abilities and weapons and stuff going into it. And maybe you upgrade them as you go through, but like, there's so many questions here. And to be clear, it does not look like Hidetaka Miyazaki is directing this game. It seems like this is from someone else within the team that is directing it. But, like, really bizarre. Just to finish it out.
Little pillager, bent on stacking the lands of gold. I will swat away any and all who dare approach.
A lot of memorable arenas.
And prepare to claim. The life of the Night Lord.
So an entire spin-off game for next year for current and last gen consoles. I don't think this was on anybody's list. Like, anybody's. I didn't have this on my list. I don't think any of us saw this coming. Harry Potter theme, it did kind of sound like it. They did the same. Do. Yeah. I heard that too. It's funny you bring that up. So I honestly, I have no freaking clue what what to make of it. In the recent past, when games are not directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, but they come from Software, they end up being good, but not masterpieces. Like 8 out of 10s, for some people maybe 8.5 out of 10, that type of thing. Still very much probably worth playing, but not masterpiece level things. This to me just feels like one of those Elden Ring was huge, you don't want to make a full sequel. How about this? We'll release the rights of Elden Ring back to you if you make sort of a live service. Maybe it's live service. It's not clear, but maybe we do something like that as like a co-op game that we can do stuff with. Cash grab, just say it. Yeah, it's cash grab. It feels kind of like that. It feels like hopping into the Elden Ring universe to sell a 3-player co-op game while recycling bosses that were designed a decade ago. And that to me just feels weird. There is original stuff here. I mean, obviously they've tweaked a lot of stuff. They've added stuff. But hearing that it's like a procedurally generating roguelike, I could see a world in which this ends up being just like painfully clear that it's a cash grab. Or there's also a realm in which this fulfills something people have wanted for a long time, which is basically a boss rush mode for Elden Ring. And sort of Dark Souls 3 as well. Yeah, live service isn't the right term. It's like one of those always online games. You play with your friends. They can sell extra DLC. They can sell, I'm sure, cosmetics, maybe new heroes for $5 or $10 a pop. You better believe they're thinking about all that stuff. Hopefully they choose not to go that route, but that seems to be the easiest way to capitalize on it. I hope they don't do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But for years and years, people have asked for basically a boss rush mode. People have modded it into these games because they just want to go through boss fights one after another. And this seems like it very well could be that. It's just procedural, and that's basically how they do it. It can be played solo. They confirmed it. That's also awesome. I like that. So I think there's just a lot of question marks because it's so bizarre and so weird and nobody saw this coming. Especially after Hidetaka Miyazaki was like, no, we're not doing a DLC. Also suggesting we're not going to do a spinoff, but this is a spinoff. So I think everybody is just genuinely surprised. It's really, really out of left field. I don't think anybody saw this coming. It could be amazing. It could be the boss rush mode that people have wanted for a long time with a unique flair of this roguelite system. And it's just an amazing time. And it ends up being one of the surprise, or maybe not so surprising, hits of next year that people just lose their lives to when it launches, playing with their friends and stuff. Or it could come out and it's like just a lazy asset flip to try and capitalize on Elden Ring hype even more. I don't know. What's frustrating is that it could go either way. You say IGN has a good look at the game. Let's see. Oh, they played it. Let's see. IGN.
From the discovery of sprawling subterranean otherworlds to the startling second phases that completely turned the tables in so many of its boss fights, 2022's Elden Ring was a mesmerizing action RPG adventure that surprised players at every turn.
Oh, is it this guy again? He talks with the same cadence, and it sounds like Sunny V2 with everything he says. Like, same exact intonation with every single sentence.
Now, more than 2 years later, it appears that developer From Software isn't done with pulling the rug out from under the feet of its fan base just yet. With the surprise reveal of Elden Ring Night Rain, a standalone co-op spin-off that takes the cautious dungeon crawls of Elden Ring and turbocharges them into propulsive slash and dash speedruns.
Like, seriously, every sentence sounds exactly the same, and it's in all of his reviews. Every time I hear his voice, it's just that same Sunny V2 delivery. Not just because he's Australian. I think it's the pace and rhythm with which he speaks. It's just funny to me because not just with it's every single time.
After spending some 6 hours of hands-on time with this bold new spin on From Software's own Souls-like formula, I can confirm that Night Rain is shaping up to be something truly unique. If Elden Ring was one of 2022's biggest chart-topping hits, then Night Rain would appear to be its dance floor-filling remix. Chopped up, intensified in beats per minute, and designed to both excite fans of the original and broaden its appeal to the masses. Now, unfortunately, because it was such an early build of the game that I played, I wasn't able to capture any footage, even though it was running great on PlayStation 5. So I apologize for the generic footage I'll be using here, and also for my generic face. Anyway, here's how Night Rain...
It's okay. I feel you.
Breaks down. Imagine stepping back into the opening area from the original game, only nothing in the landscape seems to be where you remember it. Also, there are 3 of you now, and everything seems to be happening at a much higher tempo. That's Night Rain in a nutshell. You squad up with 2 other players at the start of each round, get dropped into a densely packed alternate reality chunk of Limgrave that has both its enemy types and structures randomly shuffled around at the beginning of each session, and it's up to you and your squad mates to build up from your lowly level 1 character's status as fast as possible by harvesting runes and earning Destiny-style loot drops as you slash and dash through every...
Destiny-style loot drops. Huh.
By harvesting runes and earning Destiny-style loot drops as you slash and dash through every enemy-filled camp that you come across. So, what's the big rush? Well, each session of Night Rain is structured as a 3-day cycle, with each in-game day taking about 15 minutes to complete. At the start of the first day, you can pretty much pick any direction to plot your whirling path of destruction along, but as day approaches night, the space you can operate in narrows, and you're liable to be killed by acid-like rain should you find yourself caught for too long beyond the perimeter of the rapidly shrinking circle on the map, known as the Ring of Rain. In that regard, Night Rain is a bit like Fortnite, only with more medieval forts and...
How to trigger FromSoft fans watching your video in an instant. Compare the FromSoft game to Fortnite. Dude, I haven't even looked here, but I'm sure there's people that are perturbed by that. I don't know why comments aren't loading. I don't know.
Nights and considerably less TikTok dances. Once the Ring of Rain reaches its smallest diameter at the end of the day, a major boss fight is triggered. Like the rest of Night Rain's enemies, these end-of-day bosses are always randomized, and during my repeat runs, I experienced clashes with familiar returning foes like a Draconian Tree Sentinel, as well as some brand new nasties like the Centipede, a towering, twisting swarm of disgusting limbs, prone to detaching its body parts in an attempt to divide itself and conquer my crew. With the day 1 boss dealt with, day 2 begins and the Ring of Rain rescinds, allowing your squad to take a breath, regroup, and then resume ransacking the map for upgrades in preparation for the more challenging foes to come at the end of days 2 and 3. It's a structure that allows for a gradual build of tension before a palpable sense of accomplishment and release with each boss felled. Over time, my squad mates and I became a well-oiled machine as far as getting the balance right between beelining for churches to snatch up valuable HP flasks and taking down the more major overworld enemies like dragons and hippos in order to get maximum XP boosts for buck before the map was cast back into darkness. We were also able to eventually settle upon the best combination of heroes for our group. You see, Night Rain doesn't feature the lengthy list of generic character classes that the original Elden Ring did, and players won't have to Google the difference between vague sounding archetypes like the Prisoner and Wretch when they first hop into play. Instead, Night Rain offers 8 different heroes to choose from, each with very clearly identified strengths and weaknesses, in order to make it as easy to jump into as possible. 4 were playable in the preview build. Wilder is an all-rounder hero type with a good balance between speed and attack power. Guardian is a burly tank type with heavy attacks and increased damage resistance. Duchess is a nimble type with fast attacks and a killer quick-step ability. And Recluse is a mage type with ranged magical attacks. Additionally, each character features a unique skill and ultimate attack that both operate on cooldown timers.
Okay. The more I hear about this, the more I'm like, this could either be amazing or suck ass. I really don't know. Because I saw somebody in chat, it's like so it's basically an extraction game. Extraction Ring, JRP. Yeah. Yeah. It's basically Extraction Ring. Each day cycle is 15 minutes. And you have to complete all the bosses, otherwise the circle closes fully. So it's moving you from zone to zone. But which is better, comparing it to an extraction game or Fortnite? Which is better? Which one gets you canceled faster? And then once you defeat all the bosses, then you can leave. But I guess you don't carry anything. So it's not an extraction game. I don't know what this is. That's my answer. I don't know what this is. It sounds like one of those projects that like somebody in the studio threw out. Like, yeah, sounds kind of cool. Can you build a prototype? They build a prototype. They're like, hey, this is kind of fun. Maybe we should make this whole thing. Maybe we should just do the whole thing. Compared to The Witcher 3.
Wilder is able to use his hookshot skill to either reel in smaller enemies like Scorpion in Mortal Kombat, or to quickly zip past the swinging arms of a major boss in order to sneak a few strikes in from behind. Guardian is able to conjure up a mini tornado to knock swarms of enemies off their feet, while Recluse can put a marker on an enemy so that every time that enemy is attacked, the damage is siphoned into boosts for her own HP. These unique abilities are all extremely useful in their own right, but finding ways to combine them with the special moves of your squad mates is key to surviving Night Rain's toughest enemy encounters. One strategy that my squad grew to rely on quite heavily was to unleash a damaging ultimate attack on an enemy such as Guardian's swooping dive bomb, then immediately follow it up with Duchess's restage skill, which basically creates an instant replay of the last attack landed and allows you to double the total amount of damage inflicted. It's in finding killer combinations of moves such as these that the co-op focus of Night Rain really shines. And after multiple failed attempts, my squad was finally able to progress through to the 3rd day of the cycle, which climaxed in a fight against a snarling Cerberus-like beast called Gladius, which forced my team to coordinate and queue up skills and ultimate attacks with painstaking precision in order to overcome it. Gladius is just the first of 8 major bosses to take down in Night Rain, each with their own 3-day cycle leading up to them.
So there's 8. I don't know why I expected there would just be more. But I guess there's 8, and then there's 3 bosses leading up to them. So there's actually more than it sounds like. But it doesn't sound like a lot. But it's 8 final bosses with 3 bosses leading up to them. So each of those 8 have 3 others. So, you know, it's actually a good amount. It's what, 32 bosses totally? Or total?
In addition to the randomization of enemy types and structures, further wrinkles will be introduced into each boss cycle, such as live volcanoes and forests full of rot, in an effort to prevent the landscape from ever growing too predictable. That's along with random events like meteor strikes.
Well, 24 little guys, then so 24 minor bosses, and then 8 big bosses. So a total of 32 bosses. But there's 8 major quote unquote bosses that end it, and then there's 3 minor bosses that lead up to the finals. So 32 bosses total.
Swarms of giant ants to fend off, and the surprise invasion of powerful tormentors like Margit the Fell Omen in an attempt to impede your progress.
Wait, what was that?
Swarms of giant ants to fend off, and the surprise invasion of powerful tormentors like Margit the Fell Omen.
So then also invasions of other bosses, so there could be even more than that. Okay.
In an attempt to impede your progress. In addition to the approachability of its roster of playable characters, Night Rain has polished up a lot of Elden Ring's more abrasive edges to make it a far more friction-free experience.
Friction-free? Oh no. Oh no, it's dumbed down. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, real quick. All of my hardcore Elden Ring fans, and players, those of you who have put the 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 hours into Elden Ring, who have really gotten to know that game, what do you think of this? Because to me, like Take just said, so I put 400 hours into 3 characters in Elden Ring just to come and play set characters. F off. To me, what I hear, like, you are supposed to defeat a boss and explore the map within 15 minutes of a single day. So one day is 15 minutes. You go through 3 days, 15 minutes a piece, so 45 minutes. And then you have the big final end boss that capstones it. So each cycle should take you probably an hour-ish. But just to me, like, thinking about difficulty levels, in Elden Ring, like, one boss could take you an hour if it's a really tough boss that you're learning the patterns to and all of that. But they're expecting you for the minor bosses to be able to get through the boss fight probably on your first try or second try, for the fights to be pretty short, and for you to be able to explore the levels during that time as well, and also encounter like invasion bosses that come in and mess with you as well. So it sounds like the whole thing is kind of compressed. So you play through it. Bosses should have much lower HP. They probably don't hit quite as hard because you got to work through them faster. So to me, it really does sound like it very much simplified Elden Ring. It's starting to sound much less like Elden Ring and much more like, well, a roguelike, you know, much more like something else. Elden Ring in name only. I don't know. To me, it's feeling weird the more I find out about it. New stuff, just like PvP mode. I know the Dark Souls stuff won't disappear because of one spin-off mode. Yeah, to be clear, I don't think they're like canceling anything else. It's co-op Elden Ring. That alone is enough for me to be interested. That's the thing though, Brinley, is that it sounds like it's not co-op Elden Ring. It sounds like it's something different. Because Elden Ring would have you, like with the co-op mode, would have you building out your character, which would have you going and taking on very difficult boss fights. They really push you, like, but this sounds like it is much more streamlined, as he put it, friction free, which is the point, to be clear. But yeah, I don't think this is for the hardcore Elden Ring fans that like enjoy building out characters, experimenting with different loadouts, and trying really tough boss fights. It sounds like the whole thing is going to be streamlined a lot, but I mean, maybe it finds an entirely new audience. I'm not sure, but
a new wall jump move allows you to quickly hop up and over steep sections of the terrain, while the removal of any fall damage means you can lunge off cliffs or down dark holes without pausing to study your surroundings for safe platforms. You only need to walk near a site of grace to top up your health and flasks, and if you want to spend some...
Oh, you just walk near it. Because they're trying to streamline it so much that you don't have to spend the time to sit, and there shouldn't be a need to respec, or to spec. So why would you need to sit down in it? So you just get close to it.
Runes to level up, you just button mash through pages of auto leveling that best suits the base traits of the level up near a site of grace to top up your health and flasks. And if you want to spend some runes to level up, you just button mash through pages of auto leveling that best suits the base traits of your chosen character.
Oh.
rather than having to agonize over whether you should allocate a point to faith or dexterity, for example. It all gives each over best suits should allocate.
So he's saying there is no, like, you're not selecting where to apply points. You just gain runes and then you level up your character. So if you chose the whatever barbarian archetype, you just press level up and that auto applies whatever points, so you don't select it yourself. This is literally Elden Ring for idiots. Maybe that's, but like, that's the thing, is maybe this is literally like designed to kind of be that, and it's trying to be the most approachable version of Elden Ring to get people to go and buy Elden Ring. Like, this is for those people that thought Elden Ring was too intimidating with the building your character with the attribute points and all that. And so as a result, they're like, let's just remove all of that, make it so it's a button press to just auto level, and we do it that way. And then we can try to funnel them up into full Elden Ring. It's not a bad idea, but again, like, the more I hear about this, the less I think Elden Ring fans that really like Elden Ring are gonna eat this up. Maybe some of them do, but to me, it just sounds like it's getting dumbed down to the point where it won't feel like Elden Ring. Like, hardly at all.
To agonize over whether you should allocate a point to faith or dexterity, for example. It all gives each session the feeling of being shuttled along in an intense speed run, and you can get around even faster by using spectral hawks to vault across great distances of the map. Death is not necessarily the end in Night Rain either. If you find yourself down, you have a near death meter that appears above you, and your squad mates must attack you while you crawl along the ground until the meter is reduced and you can return to the fray. It may sound slightly odd to basically kick a friend while they're down, but it's a system that works quite well, particularly since you can use ranged attacks like magic or crossbows to revive a down squad mate from a distance without the risk of putting yourself in harm's way. Should all three of you be wiped out at once, it's the end of the session, and you must restart day one with everyone back at level 1. So
that is really weird. So you get downed, and then your team has to attack you to res you, which I guess makes sense if they want it to be like, hey, if you're playing, you're using magic, you're using ranged stuff, then it wouldn't make much sense to require you to get up on them because you're just going to die. Like, if you're the last guy standing and you're using ranged abilities, you're not going to be able to res your team. So it does equalize it across the board, because the close range fighters will be able to get close range too, and the boss long range can still be helpful in resing. So I think that works fine.
So you need to stay on your toes in order to keep the rest of your squad on their feet whenever possible. While there's no doubt that elements of it are inspired by the likes of Destiny and Diablo 4, it needs to be said that Elden Ring Night Rain is not a live service game. Once you buy it, you get access to the complete package, and there are no battle passes or microtransactions to contend with. It can also be played in single player should you wish to stay offline, with enemy health pools that scale down so that it's not too overwhelming for solo players. Although, curiously, there are currently no plans to allow players to play in pairs. As someone...
That's odd.
Who has sunk hundreds of hours into Elden Ring, both in the original 2022 game and this year's Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, I can confidently say that From Software is onto something truly spectacular with Night Rain. Cutting throats at breakneck speed with a pair of friends in tow has been a consistently exhilarating experience so far, and especially gratifying when you work together to topple its toughest bosses using each character's special abilities in tandem. Assuming the developers can throw enough randomized elements to keep each 3-day assault feeling fresh, then Elden Ring Night Rain could well provide an exciting change of pace for existing fans and an enticingly accessible entry point for newcomers when it launches sometime in 2025. So, what do you think? Are you...
Yeah, you can play as 3, but they say that there's no plans for duos. I wonder why. Is it that hard to just make a separate stat for health? for the boss. I don't know why duos would be problematic for them. Probably has to do with connectivity. But what's the like, if you can connect 3 players to a session, what's the problem with adding 2 players? I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. That's weird. It's very interesting. Again, it's like, it's probably the most surprising game that was revealed at least for me at the Game Awards. I know there were some that were like totally out of left field for some people. But honestly, like, it's the game is not just surprising, but it's also very, very different than what I think anybody really expected the next Elden Ring thing to be. It's really, really different. After watching that, finding out more about it, kind of like I said, I could see this being either totally awesome, and it's like the surprise Helldivers hit that's a total blast and is super, super cool, and people were like, oh, maybe it's gonna be good, and it ends up just being amazing. Or it's one of those things that you play for 10 hours and you're just done because you're like, I've seen everything, I'm good. I really don't know. What I'd be interested in, what I would be interested in is how like hardcore Elden Ring players feel about it. Because to me, it seems that if you are somebody that loves the character customization and the slower pace of combat, the tougher bosses and stuff that take you 10, 20 minutes to fight, or even an hour or two as you're bashing your head against the wall trying to overcome them, it seems like this is designed to carry you forward faster. Like, it's designed to remove a lot of that. And maybe this does click with those players still, but maybe it also doesn't. Maybe those people just don't connect with it at all and are just like, yeah, Millennia, it took me 10 to 20 minutes. Ha ha ha. Yeah, but that's the thing, Mendes, is like, that experience from Elden Ring, I don't think you're going to have here, because if you run into like the final phase boss after going through the 3 days and then you get curb stomped, you go through another cycle. So you can't just hit your head against that boss. Like, you're going to go through another 3-day cycle, maybe get one more chance at them. And then if they curb stomp you again, you're just like, you're screwed and you got to try again. But you might not get them in the next cycle because it's randomized. So it maybe that's part of it. Maybe the final boss is so difficult, that's what keeps you playing over and over and over again, is that just by the time you hit the final boss, you get one whack at it, and then you might not get another attempt for another 8 hours of gameplay by the time it cycles through the others. But that to me also doesn't, like, that sounds very frustrating if bosses are that difficult that you need to practice against them and learn their movesets or learn their abilities. But you'd have to cycle through the other versions to get there. I don't know. Apparently there's a beta in February. That's a good idea. That's the safest bet. Do a beta. Do a beta. Let people try it. Let people try the beta. But thoroughly crazy and bizarre. Really, really different, but also kind of cool. So we'll try the beta. You just made it sound good to me. Oh, good. I it's just, it breaks my brain. The more I find out about it, the more I'm like, huh, okay, weird, huh. Really, really crazy. Fortnite. I told you people would be upset about that. People saying, is that the Nameless King? While Firekeeper is right up your face. Yeah, not gonna lie, I was mad it wasn't Elden Ring 2 at first, but an Elden Ring roguelike I can play with my friends. Sounds effing sick. 2-player couch co-op would be a sick addition. That actually would be really, really cool. Really excited for faster gameplay. I want to fly around like a graceful murderous swan. Time for Radon, Consort of the Night. Yeah, My Lady Firekeeper, Dark Souls 3, Nameless King, Dark Souls 3, Duke's Dear Freya, Dark Souls 2, Centipede Demon, Dark Souls. The guy putting emphasis on the last word in every sentence. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that noticed it. Yeah, it's really, really interesting. So I don't know. Figure that one out. breaks my brain. You know, it also breaks my brain. Breaks my brain. Mafia. Luke, please do the irritating TikTok impression selling this new Elden Ring game. Did you know that there's a new Elden Ring game that just got announced, and I'm gonna give it away if you like this video and share it with 4 friends. Also follow me on Twitter and Instagram and DM me #bubblebutt. Let's go. There you go. There you go. Oh, don't forget the free headset. Yeah, dude, for real. My mom thinks you're weird now. Good. Good. Dude, that TikTok meta drives me crazy. It's so stupid and cringe. Today I'm gonna try this game. Okay, let's talk about this one. And then I'll catch up on stuff. News segment. Mafia, the old country. This announcement was foretold in the scrolls. It actually was leaked early in the day yesterday, which is too bad because it was rumored it was going to show up. And then when it actually did, everybody was like, oh, wow. But it leaked, so it was a little less exciting than it would have otherwise been. But there are some interesting little tidbits in this that I find compelling. As you can see in the description, check out this new Mafia, the Old Country trailer for the upcoming action-adventure game set in the 1900s Sicily. Years before the first Mafia game and its sequels, Mafia, the Old Country take on the role of a new protagonist called Enzo, who survived a childhood of indentured labor in Sicily's sulfur mines to join Don Torrisi's crime family. Mafia, the Old Country will be available on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series consoles in summer of 25. Oh, baby. If you don't know me, I am a sucker for Mafia games. I love it. I eat it up. I love these games. And even though they've had some problems, I still love the franchise. I just love the writing and the tone and the art style. I think it's great. Interestingly enough, this game is making a huge change to the formula of old Mafia games. Like a huge change that I think is going to really alter how people play it, how they develop it, which I find thoroughly interesting. So as you can see, this wrap up from Shinobi, Mafia, the Old Country takes place in brutal criminal underworld of 1900s Sicily, linear narrative driven focused package Mafia game, meaning they are not doing an open world for this, which historically has been one of the main critiques of Mafia, is that it has an open world, but the open world is often the weakest part of it, which is, you know, a just common problem for those Mafia games is they have it. It's always just empty and uninteresting. It's basically a sandbox in which they place the main story quest, but after you leave the main story quest, there's just nothing to do or see elsewhere. Maybe you go to a tailor and get a new suit, but that's about it. But they're changing it, so now it's going to be linear and it's going to be narrative, a very focused package. They're not going to waste resources on an open world that nobody likes anyways. Will feature dangerous combat systems with high stakes, grounded stealth and gunplay. You play as Enzo, quote, in a time when skill with a stiletto blade was a deadly asset. A Lupara sawed-off shotgun was a go-to firearm. Murderous vendettas raged for decades, and a mafiosi patrolled their protection rackets on foot, horseback, or behind the wheel of turn-of-the-century motor cars. Enzo has survived a childhood of indentured labor in their hellish sulfur mines. He gains an opportunity to join the Don Torrisi crime family. Swearing that oath means commitment to the Torrisi family code of honor, where family takes sacrifice. It's about the family. So let's see this trailer. Buckle in, buckaroo. Oh, here we go. In-engine cinematic rendered for trailer. So this is not what the game will presumably look like when actually running. This is pre-rendered, so don't get it twisted.
All of the men in this room are bound by blood. This is a family. And in this family, we follow a code of honor. It is not forgiving. To betray one is to betray all. Do you wish to commit yourself, your life, to this family?
I do.
To become a man of honor, repeat these words.
I swear my loyalty to this family. My flesh must burn like this saint. If I do not keep my oath,
welcome, Enzo.
What's the word? Throbbing. That's me right now. Oh baby. I love me some Mafia. I love the writing. I love the vibes. And Mafia Definitive Edition, I still recommend to people all the time. I think that that's really, really well done. And to see this be a prequel to all of that, ooh, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. This is one of those franchises where, like, I obviously can recognize that there are many, many problems with the Mafia games. Whether you look at 1, 2, or certainly 3, which had many, many problems, certainly at launch, I like the Mafia the Mafia like crime family syndicate genre, I guess, the Mafia genre, the Godfather genre. I just like it. And they're coming out with another one summer of next year. They're going to pinpoint a date, probably a little bit closer. Everybody right now is cautious to pinpoint a date too precisely because they don't want to land next to anything else because next year is so packed. But man, I'm excited, and I'm glad to see that Hangar 13 is still kicking. Hopefully this is good and they are able to pull it off, because I just think like it would have been really, really easy for them to stop existing after Mafia 3. They suffered a lot of extensive layoffs. They had a lot of problems, and then they came back and they came out swinging with Mafia Definitive Edition that apparently did really well and kind of proved to the executives that they still had it. And then they were greenlit to work on this, and now we're actually going to get it. So here we are. Here we are, ready to go. Yeah, Luke's gonna need a new pair of pants. Dude, this whole stream has been a roller coaster for me. Tell you what. You know what's also amazing is that, like, the Witcher 4 IGN version of the trailer is at 5.3 million views of Witcher 4, right? The Witcher 4. So the IGN trailer is at 5.4 million. Their official channel is at 2.6 million. Okay. So all told, we're at like 8 million across those two. And I would have thought that I already forgot what it's called. What's the new Naughty Dog game called? What's the new Naughty Dog game called? I cannot remember it. Do I have it pulled up in another tab? I don't think I do. What's it called? Concord, how dare you. Intergalactic. Like, Intergalactic, fascinatingly enough, I would have thought the next Naughty Dog game would be blowing up. And it's doing well. Like, these are very respectable view counts. But I saw somebody saying, oh, they had to end with that because that's way bigger than The Witcher. I'm like, I don't think it is, man. Like for me personally, I just think that this trailer gave us very little to work with versus that Witcher trailer, which had a lot. Oh God. Jesus Christ. Why does this still show up in my feed? I can't block. Okay, I can't block them. I can't block any of these because all the videos after a certain point are just as you would expect. Dude, the face. Sorry. That's just funny. Oh man, it's gonna be another one of those games that's just impossible to talk about. That's what we're dealing with, I think. Oh man. There's not to react to. Yeah, I mean, kind of. I think it's the whole female protagonist thing. That's all I'm saying. Well, honestly, no matter what they showed, because it's Neil Druckmann, there would have been a response kind of like this. It's Neil. It just comes with the territory. So I think no matter what, there's going to be something like that. Sarcasm says, I thought it looked really interesting and I'm excited. This is a problem with your name being Sarcasm. Sarcasm is I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not. I don't know if I should read it as I thought it looked really interesting. I'm excited. Or, oh, I thought it looked really interesting. I'm really excited. I don't know how to read it. I can't tell. I can't tell anymore. Oh, man. You want a ton of clicks and comments regardless of hate? Title a video about Intergalactic with the word she's gorgeous. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, to me, there's not enough in the trailer to really work with. It's a new IP. There's not a lot there. Whereas like The Witcher 4, obviously there's a lot to work with in that trailer and it's not a new IP. People know what it is and they're excited for it. So I think there's just not a lot to work with there. And it might end up being amazing. It might end up being my game of the year whenever it launches in 2026 or whatever. But there's just not much there. They say it's the most like complex and deep gameplay they've ever designed for a project, which to me sounds great. But like we didn't see any of it, so I just don't know. You know. Did you assume their gender? Funnily enough, I specifically checked their press release and they state she and her constantly, so nobody can come at me. Nobody can come at me. It's funny that for Naughty Dog, I have to, you have to check, like you have to go and double check before you talk about the game. Otherwise you feel like you're walking on nails, but now we're good. I checked. Okay, should we do this? We have Crimson Desert as well. There's so much that happened last night, dude. Mono, thank you for the membership, by the way. Johnny, thank you for that 5. Hey, Luke, do you happen to be selling a GPO for insanely cheap? I really need one, but the price kill me. The 50 series is coming out soon and I'm scared. No, I'm not selling anything. Usually if I have any hand-me-downs, they go to my brothers. I just give them stuff. Later Storm, thank you for the 2. Sony would love this. Oh, the Elden Ring Knight, whatever. Yeah, probably. Blake, thank you for the 2. Did you ever beat Armored Core 6 yet? No, I don't think I ever finished it fully. Something else came out around the time I was... How far did I get? It's been a minute. I think I still have it installed upstairs. I could probably check. Something came out and then I started playing that. Yeah, to me, it just like, it kind of... I kind of hit a point where I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's good. But I never had that push to like go back to it after something else came. Take thing for the 5. So I put 400 hours into 3 different characters on Elden Ring just to come and play set characters. F off. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier. I'm not sure how many people will feel that same way or if people are going to be like, ooh, I don't have to have the headache of scaling. I can just play a character and grind it out, cool. I don't know how that'll click. I don't think they know either. Andre, thank you for the 26 months. Ooh, baby. Yo, Luke, just wanted to wish you and everyone here happy holidays. Have a great one. You too, my friend. And yes, happy holidays to everybody. Edgar, thank you for that one. Take a poll. Oh, God. Now I don't know what you were talking about a poll for. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I don't know. Tell me what the poll was for. Thank you for that one. I was being a little harsh before. I don't like to be pessimistic about games, but it just bothers me when I see greatness being milked and degraded. It's hard not to feel like they're milking the Elden Ring brand with this. Could still be great, but it does feel like this is definitely an attempt to cash in. Samuel, thank you for that 5. Mafia, the old country, looks so cool and reminds me of The Godfather. I don't know much about the series, though. You should try it. Like, they sell it in a bundle where you can play all 3 games, and you should do that because it's really good. Started the first one, played all the way through. No spoilers, but so good. David, thank you for that one. Do you think a potential flop of Intergalactic will force Naughty Dog to do Last of Us 3? I think they'll eventually do it regardless. I don't think anything will force them. And whether it'll flop, I don't have any idea. Being from Naughty Dog, the odds are that it does very well because their stuff typically does very well. But what we do know for sure is that even if they release it and it doesn't do super great, they will make 3 remasters and remakes for it within like a year and a half. So either way, they will have plenty of opportunities to sell it, I'm sure. And then take thing for the 2. We haven't forgotten about what Neil did to Joel. No one did. You think it's choice based? No, I just think they're going to go more action RPG than anything else. And it's going to most likely really, I think they're pushing the boundary in terms of gameplay. What is also very likely is that they developed a bunch of systems for the online game that they have shifted into this to utilize it. So they probably did a lot of tech for data streaming, for bigger levels, for more entities being tracked within levels and stuff like that. So I think that they did all of that. And now they're going to utilize it here. Just makes sense. Wish it didn't have such a generic name. It is a little forgettable. I still struggle to remember. If I didn't have it typed out here at the top, I would have forgotten it again. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. I don't know. I'm excited for more trailers, but I definitely need more trailers. People will hate The Last of Us 3. They shouldn't do it. Yeah, well, that's part of the thing with this whole thing with Intergalactic is I think no matter what they revealed, people would still be raging about it. People would still be freaking out. But the thing is, like, the question has always been, are the people freaking out about it the same people who will buy the game? Because there's a lot of people freaking out about, like, say, AC Shadows that were never going to buy the game. Like, they just were not interested. And I don't think it was ever going to click with them. But with this, like, usually you can tell based just on view counts what the interest is. There is a lot of interest for The Witcher 4. People are seeing it. People are getting excited. These view counts tell you people are sharing the video with their friends, which you would expect for an established IP. But these view counts are way lower. And seeing Naughty Dog go and, like, disable comments because they were so nasty, and going in, like, apparently it's also underwater with dislikes. Granted, the dislike plugin is super inaccurate in my experience. It basically usually doubles the actual dislike count. But even there, if the dislike counter extension for Chrome is saying that they're at, say, 50,000 dislikes, that's still 25,000 dislikes. In my experience, it's usually double. It says double what it actually is on the back end. But still, that's not great. So there's just They've got to win people over. I think they're fighting an uphill battle, but it's also from Naughty Dog, and it's a very well-established studio with a pretty great track record, so we'll see. Yeah, the Witcher trailer was badass. Yeah, you're right. No Fable, by the way. Yeah, I think I'm surprised we didn't get anything from Fable. Makes me think that they're going to do an Xbox showcase probably in January. I think that's probably what we see. Oh yeah, Split Fiction. Yeah, let's see this. Here we go. Split Fiction. News segment. Okay. Joseph Fares and the team over at Hazelight, the guys that did It Takes Two, Game of the Year 2021, they revealed their newest game. And very adorably, the protagonists are named after his daughters, which was super sweet. But here we go. I can already see they took a lot of feedback from It Takes Two, which was that all of the human faces looked horrifying, and they reworked a lot of that. So it already looks way better.
You know, we sure cause a lot of explosions.
Okay, you better get ready, because I'm about to show you Hazelight's next co-op adventure called Split Fiction.
It's hard to listen to him and not smile. Like, he just has that vibe where it just makes you go, you know, it's very funny. Yeah, this trailer is one of those that so much will happen so quickly it'll break your brain. But in case you're somehow not familiar with It Takes Two, the thing that Hazelight does is they make co-op games. They are not playable single player. They're meant to be played with a friend, with a loved one next to you. And the way they do it is you only have to buy one copy, and then your friend can download a friend pass, which basically is just the game that unlocks with an invite from the person who bought it. So 2 people can play this game together on the couch or separated, you know, across countries, but only one copy needs to be sold. So they're put forward in a really pro-consumer way, and they will blow your mind with the level of creativity they come in with. It really is wild. It's really, really cool. And It Takes Two really did deserve Game of the Year. It was very, very good. Let's see. Dr. Dave, thank you for the 10 months. Hey, Luke, happy holidays. Any ET on the Witcher video? We're actually filming more stuff for it today. So after I get off this, I'm going to go and eat, and then I come back down to record more stuff. So, yeah, it's the gears are grinding. The gears are grinding. MMORPG, Al, thank you for that gifted membership, and welcome, JN for getting the membership. Welcome. Okay, let's continue. Here we go.
Let me tell you this. Get ready for a ride. You play as Mio and Zoe, 2 aspiring writers that hopes to get published by a new tech company that can simulate their stories to life.
I can't do this.
Please calm down.
It's time. You can't shut it. No!
Accidentally, they end up in the same simulation.
What are you doing in my story? Something bad is going on here.
And there, they find out that their stories are about to get stolen.
No one escapes my simulation.
And in order to save them, they have to escape back to reality through the very worlds that they created.
Hands above your heads.
But the thing is, they're strangers, and Mio writes sci-fi, while Zoe writes fantasy. So you will, for every level in the game, jump between a sci-fi world and a fantasy world.
I just love the idea that, like, what should we do? Sci-fi or fantasy? And he's literally like, both. Let's do it. Sounds cool. Like, again, with It Takes Two, just when you thought they were running out of, like, there's no way they have more ideas for gameplay, for levels, for whatever, they come up with something else. It's really, really cool.
We at Hazelight love variation, and you'll have a unique mechanic for every level. Let me give you some examples. In this level, you start out by finding dragon eggs that hatch.
Hey, stop licking.
And then they become a little bit bigger dragons with new abilities. But in the end, they grow up to be full-ass dragons. And now, you can fly around and kick ass. In another level, you play these ball droids that can magnetize and shift to different forms. And then the droids become your exosuits. And you can now attack and hack different objects. Here's another one. You play as pigs, and they later become... Anyway, let's not talk about that level for now.
See what I mean? See what I mean? It's just so freaking clever and creative and wild. And it's like 10, 15 hours of this. Like, it blows your mind just when you think, oh, they've run out of ideas. They blow your mind with another one. It's so freakishly impressive. I just love it. I can't speak highly enough of them. They're very, very good.
And as always, with the Friends Pass, you only need to buy one copy of the game to play it with your friend online. That's what Hazelight is about. No loot boxes, no microtransactions, and no bullshit. You just get the game.
No loot boxes, no microtransactions, no bullshit. Says the quiet part out loud.
Parking tickets. Time to die.
Excuse me? Run!
Man, it looks good. It looks real good. It's $40 on Steam as well. Seems like a great deal for two people, or $39.99 on for in Great British pounds. Hold on, let me go. Steam. Steam. Yeah, $50 US. 40 Great British pounds, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. I haven't tried this, obviously, so maybe this ends up sucking, but Hazelight, they really are fantastic, and they just keep getting better and better and better, and It Takes Two was so freaking good. I can't recommend it highly enough. Yeah, so $70 Canadian. Yeah, probably like 6,000 Australian. Yeah, it's really good. Really good. I'm here for it. Okay. Let's do Outer Worlds 2. I'm so hungry. I'm getting lightheaded. Let's do this. Outer Worlds 2. News segment. Okay. Are you ready? Oh, Loxy, sorry. Did the auto mod thing get you? Oh, is the Anti-Walk crowd bashing a game on the basis of the look of a woman again? I haven't seen the trailer, to be fair. Yeah, they're going at both the Naughty Dog game and The Witcher. I mean, surprised face. You know. Okay, let's do this. Let's look real quick at The Outer Worlds 2. News segment. The Outer Worlds 2 got an official trailer, actual trailer this time, versus the sort of cinematic trailer making fun of cinematic trailers that we got before. But here it actually is from Obsidian, and biggest surprise will be revealed at the very, very end of the trailer. I don't think any of us saw this coming, but we'll get there. Let's see.
From the studio that brought you Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, Part 2. Neverwinter Nights, Part 2. and Fallout 3 Part 2 Vegas comes a completely original Part 2. And like all good sequels, we've included everything that should have been in the first game. More action. More weapons. And more graphics. Get ready for an adventure that took 3 times longer to make, but will almost certainly be 2 times bigger.
We're gonna get copyright struck, but no, I mean, they really have cranked the dials on this one, and seemingly really pushed the boundary. But like,
25.
That's the big surprise. 2025, they are releasing Avowed and this in the same year. I think what happened was that it seems as though Obsidian delayed Avowed out of 2024 to try and give it some more breathing room away from other RPGs like Kingdom Come Deliverance and Assassin's Creed Shadows and those. And Dragon Age. Also, they were worried about Dragon Age, apparently. But they delayed it out of that realm. And then everything gets delayed right next to it. So they're like, oh crap, here we are. And I think the original plan was probably Avowed 24, Outer Worlds 2 in 2025. Now they're just together, but they're both pretty much done. So they're like, oh, let's just do it. The other theory I saw some people posting on X about was suggesting maybe they're trying to like free up their teams because they got a command from on high that after this they're going balls to the walls with like a New Vegas remake or spinoff. I don't know if that's the case. I'd be surprised if that's what they're doing, but I would be happy if that's what they're doing. At this point, I've just accepted they're probably never going to touch Fallout again, but I would love for that to be not correct. I'm just keeping my hopes low, so I'm not disappointed. But I mean, I'm here for it. I think they they really know what they're doing when it comes to quirky, funny trailers. I'll give them that.
Hiring any more idiots? I'm looking for people of tact and vision and perspicacity.
Coming Series X and S, PS5, and Steam. Just further confirming that like Xbox is not really doing the console exclusive thing anymore. They're going to commit to bringing it everywhere all the time. I there's not a whole lot to go with here other than it looks like just a steady state evolution of the first game. First game I thought was fine. It really started to just run into a wall, and it was really limited by its own scope and scale and budget more than anything. So hopefully they've just been given enough time, enough money to really push the boundary and go crazy. I'm optimistic about it, but we'll have to wait till we get some actual reporting on the game and figure out more stuff about it. Twitch auto-censored look of a woman while I was making lunch. Oh, really? Dude, Twitch auto-mod is crazy. Yeah, I don't know. But I expect it to be another one of those like smaller AA budget, big kind of, well, AA budget RPGs. I don't think it's going to be like too crazy, totally insane. But maybe they'll surprise me. But I think it's probably going to be like AA scale. Okay. Well, fam, here's the deal. I'm about to pee myself and I'm very hungry, so much so that I'm getting like the cold sweats and stuff. Maybe I'm just getting sick. I don't know. But I think we're going to call it there. We're going to be back on stream very soon. I don't know precisely when. We might come back tomorrow. We might wait till Monday. I'm not totally sure, but I want to give Jacob and Trevor enough like content to work with, to make clips and stuff with. So I think we're going to call it there. I'll be back on stream again soon. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the extremely generous like super chats and all that. You guys have been extremely generous today. I'm very humbled by that. Thank you. I will be back rocking and rolling very soon. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. Until then, my friends, much love. Have a fantastic Friday the 13th, and I will see you soon. Hugs and kisses, everybody. Much love. Bye-bye.